I'll open up your chat.
All right. We are live. Hello, guys. Hello, beautiful people.
Hey, guys.
I'm joined today by Sanctum. You guys might know Sanctum from Sanctuary Chat. He's very, very active on there, and also big rogue blaster, guide maker. And yeah, we're gonna discuss a little bit of the feedback that I think PTR has brought with us today. I guess we'll also go over the points that Sanctum made, and just have a little good talk about what we think about Rogue, what we think Rogue should have, what we think Rogue should be, a little bit of the class fantasy and all that stuff. So Sanctum, if you want to introduce yourself to the people who don't know you, then take it away.
Hey. I mean, I assume anyone who watches you probably knows me, but maybe not. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I've been playing Rogue since season 1. Big mistake moving on from Druid, but we like Rogue. It's fine. My hobbies are fighting with All Might and complaining about Rogue. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Hey Mookie, hey DZ, what's up, man? GMS, rise up. Turn down the music a little bit. Sure thing, sure thing, sure thing. Thank you for the reminder. Tell me if it's better now. Also, others give me feedback. I have edit music on the last stream. If it's too loud, too low, then please do shoot me a hint. Big mistakes. Yo, Smokey, what's up, man? How you doing? Rise, also here. Big gauntlet blaster. What's up, guys?
Did Rise get a rank 1?
Rise, did you get rank 1 in week 4 or 5? I mean, I basically dropped dead after week 3. No? Okay. Well. I think Matthias got rank 1 in week 4, so big props to him for getting the artwork as well, I guess, when we finally get contacted by Blizzard. Matthias has a sick run in week 4. Yeah, I actually do remember watching it after he posted it. Big blaster as well. Right. All Might free zone. Yeah, this is usually an All Might free zone. We also have my Discord as a safe space. Yep, Streamlabs just posting it right now. Coincidence? I think not. Yo, P Chapow, what's up, man? What's up? Right, so now that we have Rogue Chat in here, guess we can start. I want to start with some general PTR feedback. I mean, you have been blasting PTR as well.
Much less than you, but
yeah. But what's your also, hey Caddyshack, what's up, man? And also, hey Nerdbird. What's your general impression of PTR? First off,
I feel like the game is not only much improved, but I feel like now there's maybe a base or an idea to make the game actually pretty great, right? Whereas before I didn't know how the game would be good because I didn't have that much faith. But now, I mean, the game's, I mean, we didn't even see the seasonal mechanic, right? So
yeah,
and it's a good team working on it. So
yeah, definitely.
It's pretty good. I mean, there's obviously a lot of rough edges, but it's better.
Yeah,
it's way better.
I think if you glance over if you look more at how should this stuff work, right? What's the intention behind it? And I think if you regard this, I think they did a really good job at trying to bring the game into the right direction and trying to have the game be in a state that is easier to build more systems upon. So I think this is definitely a good thing going forward. And I've also discussed this with Ava, and we were basically talking about, okay, what they tried to do seems really good. Even try writing documents, having all symbols. Yeah, of course, man. You can't write documents without having symbols on. Come on,
man. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, for sure. because for example, let's say they miss on the twisting blade temper. It's like, okay, they missed,
Yeah.
right? They just gotta change it. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's true.
But the idea is cool that you customize
Yeah.
builds. Maybe the affixes, some of them are a bit too basic,
Speaking
right?
of
So
twisting
I
blades
wish,
temper, I'll add that here.
yeah, I wish the tempers were more like wild with the ideas, almost like not maybe not as wild as a wild unique, but a bit more crazy. But I mean, the opportunity is there, right? It's easier now to introduce that stuff. So
Yeah.
I like it. I mean, yeah, the implementation not the best because crafting is. Can you even call it crafting? It's just like playing a casino, right?
I mean, it's basically, it is crafting. It's much less crafting like it is in Last Epoch, obviously. I think I would, at the current state, I would call it enhanced rerolling. Because you could regard it as, okay, this item has 5 affixes, but 2 of them are just not on it yet. But you have a limited. Oh yeah, I want to add tempering. Tempering needs to have a lot less limitations. Like, you should have more tempering attempts. And I think also not only should you have more tempering attempts, but items with greater affixes should have higher tempering attempts by default.
Yeah. I think the feedback I get on that is, I feel like, I mean, something you could do, right? Because pits are, well, we'll get into it later, but they're probably too unrewarding right now.
Oh, yeah.
And for example, you could just have high level pits. I don't know, 150 plus if they rebalance it. Drop an item to reroll your temperance.
Oh yeah,
or
true.
whatever.
That's a good one.
Or an item where you apply it and your next temper has a higher chance of, I don't know, maybe you can pick between 2 instead of 4. I don't know. There's many possibilities, right? But so it's a bit more targeted, I feel.
That's a good one. Like, drop an item to reset tempering at high tiers. Chance to.
And also the tormented bosses, right? Because those are also pretty unrewarding. It's like they're not even worth doing.
Okay, those definitely need tweaking. Yo, WK Mike, what's up, man? Penshot should be able to channel, I think. Fire and release button press can still quick fire, but does 10k takes a second per channel. That's good. Like, I have something for Penshot. I'll get into that later for sure. Because I definitely think Penshot needs some help. For real.
Yeah. Yeah.
The type of stuff would make different amounts of tempers within a medium round feel much better. Trying to get red element such as math pain. Oh my god, yeah. Definitely. I mean, honestly, I think it should be possible to brick an item, but that should not be eternally irreversible. Like, there should be something to be able to unbrick an item. Like, obviously not like you can just unbrick an item an infinite amount of times because it's, you know. But like, you should have...
I mean, if it's...
it should be expensive. Yeah, sure. Like you said, go on, please. Should be expensive.
Yeah, if it's expensive, I mean, sure, it can be infinite, right? Because it was already expensive as shit, but it wasn't that noticeable. I mean, it was if you played a bit long, but it wasn't noticeable because I was just spamming characters, getting mats. But if you're not spamming characters, it was so expensive.
Yeah. Katie's asking, what's our opinion on tempering affixes that have chance to cast additional projectile? I think that's great. Honestly. I think we need more stuff like this and less stuff like plus 15% damage or something.
Yeah.
I think this like adding tempering affixes or like affixes like this in general is very good and very helpful for the game. Obviously, right now, for builds that can utilize it, they are the obvious tempering choice. I think this is not 100% ideal. They should still be like, you should have something else to choose this against, because right now it's just, okay, if you play Barrage, you definitely pick chance to get more Barrage projectiles. at least 2 times, and then you choose, do I want the third one of this, or do I pick elemental surge? But that's only because surge is really good right now. If surge is worse on bug fixed, in terms of it procs less, damage is actually not bugged, so much about that. Then it's going to be like, is this worth sacrificing for something else? And right now, the answer will, in 99% of cases, be no. It's not worth to sacrifice something to... It's not worth to sacrifice like an additional barrage projectile chance for something else. Yeah.
Yeah, basically never. Yeah.
Or yeah, like Rai said, you could make unique tempering affixes. Oh my god, but please don't lock them behind some stupid boss to farm. Let's have them drop, please. Like, yeah, chance to pierce an additional target. I mean, the problem with this is you would always run this. So, while this is a cool idea, unless you have like 20 of them, you would always run them.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to balance them so they don't feel mandatory. But I mean, really, the only way you can have them fun and also not mandatory, but more like a stylistic choice, or what complements to build, is if you have a lot of them, right?
Yeah, true.
If your build has a lot of AoE, maybe you don't need pierce, but maybe there's some temper that fixes your single target, and you go for that one. And I feel like if they get to that spot, it would be pretty cool. Where
yeah, that's a good point.
Now it's just like you just grab all the obvious ones that are essentially multiplying your damage, Oh,
Caddyshack with the sub. Thank you, man. Welcome, and thank you for the support, brother. Do appreciate it. Thank you. Go on, Sarge, thank you.
No, that's it.
Right. You reckon nades benefit or not from weapon mastery? Did you test nades? Do you know that? If nades do benefit from weapon mastery? No, I don't think they do. Because it wouldn't make sense.
I don't think they do, but I didn't test them enough because I was really I was really excited to test them, and then I tested them and it was so sad.
The funny thing is, grenades is actually decent with surge. But then again, you could just play surge rogue and skip all the grenade start.
Yeah.
We're looking for a really good rogue streamer for a while. Well, I guess my rank 1 gauntlet does qualify. Thank you, man. Appreciate this. Really. I'm not known for being humble. Well, sometimes, but not every time. Anyway. Rice said, like, yeah, unique tempering affixes. Like, unique is in cooler effects. Rank 1 my heart. Damn, Smokey.
Look, Rice, when they make actually unique temperings, I'm blaming you, so just so you know.
Can we just add Rice when they actually do it?
Yeah.
No, like, the thing with weapon mastery is, we know that weapon mastery basically behaves the way, if an attack uses weapons, then weapon mastery works. If an attack does not use weapons, it doesn't work. Yeah. So, this has been, like, insanely consistent with nearly every single effect that we tested it with. Rob did put up my Surge video on the builds to nerf. I mean, okay. I think because everyone is basically asking for this, Surge, the thing with Surge, right? In order to understand why Surge is OP, we have to understand why Surge is bugged, or what is bugged about Surge. Because the funny thing about it is, the damage itself is not bugged about Surge. The damage on Surge, damage calculation for elemental Surge, does work exactly the way all other flat damage calculations are working. So we had Ava test this, and he figured out, well, damage formula is fine. The thing that is bugged about elemental Surge is that its lucky hit chance is basically broken. Because once you masterwork it, it does not only increase the damage like it should, it also increases the lucky hit chance. And this can go beyond 100%, and then it breaks entirely and it just doesn't work anymore. The same thing happens if you add 2 elemental surges of the same type. Their lucky hit chance gets added, and if that overflows to 100, it breaks and it doesn't work anymore. So you have to stay under 100% lucky hit chance on the elemental surge for it to keep working. But obviously, the lucky hit chance increasing is a bug, and it should not increase beyond 40%. So I guess that is a problem about it. And if they fix this, yes, Surge will proc less often, but I think they should fix this first and then reevaluate if the damage is fine, right? Because I think if it procs like, let's say 1/3 of the time, because Lucky Hinge it's not overflown, then it might be in a lot better spot. It would also then give us the ability to have multiple surges of the same type without breaking. And that could be very interesting, because right now, Poison Surge is obviously the best choice for Rogue, because you can buff this with Pestilent Points buffing Eldritch Bounty, and that buffs then Elemental Surge. So, yeah, and obviously the damage in earlier levels is too high. Like, it's basically free power leveling if you find Elemental Surge, like, early on. Even the magic recipe is like 20,000 damage or something. That's super absurd. So, something about that has to be done. So it should scale with level and weapon, with level and potentially weapon level, like player level and weapon level. Right now it's just a flat multiplier. It's just a flat buff. So that is definitely something that has to change about it. But I think this discussion does not really include lowering the damage at the top end, like at level 100 with a max level weapon. I think the damage from it is fine if we consider that it is proccing way too much right now, and we should have to reevaluate first how the damage feels after the bugs with it have been fixed. So, yeah.
Wait, what's the base lucky hit on
40%. It's 40%.
40%.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they fix the lucky hit, so it's basically a 2x bit more nerf to your DPS.
Yeah.
I feel like it's still strong at 2x. Yeah, I mean, it's probably balanced if they fix that.
Yeah.
Maybe you nerf it like 10% more, 20%, like damage wise, right? But not more than that. I don't think.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, people were calling, like, I think everyone who has called for nerfing Surge to the ground and like this should not be a thing has limited understanding of what is bugged about it. So yeah. My issue is Surge is the strongest rogue build, and any class can do the same thing. Yeah, this is the problem. Like, on the PTR feedback that I'm giving, I will basically talk about why Rogue is the weakest class right now, and is also the lowest scoring class in all Gauntlet weeks so far, if you consider the top 100 score average. And that is basically due to the fact that the Rogue base kit is very weak and has a lot of fundamental problems that need to be addressed. So, yeah. What else was said? If they don't change certain game weapon level, yeah, that's true. Early games, OP. Searches all classes, yes. And class balance, like the class balance suggestion on the doc, give me that extra stat stick. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that in a second as well. Think if I follow Lord Brzezicki. Right. Okay. I think. Do you want to add something else to Surge? Because otherwise, we're just gonna start with like the PTR mechanic feedback, I guess.
No, I think you're spot on. I think they fix the lucky hit. It's either balanced or it needs a very slight nerf.
Yeah.
And they do have to make it scale with like levels.
Yeah. So it's not OP. So it's not OP during leveling. Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if you remember when you could imprint max item level flat aspects. Yeah,
that's basically
it's like that.
Thing. Yeah.
2.0. Yeah. So you gotta fix that for sure.
All right. So the first thing I was writing down with the PTR mechanics was basically masterworking. Obviously, masterworking animation takes forever. I think I have stared at the masterworking screen for, I don't even know how fucking long. Like, it's atrocious how long it takes. If you want to masterwork it to 12, you don't get what you want, reset, keep doing it again. You masterwork it to 4, reset because you got fucking chance to lucky hit freeze masterworked, and you keep resetting until you actually hit the stat you want. I think at one point on one stream, it took me around 1 hour to masterwork a single item to a usable state. Right? Agua? Yes. Good idea.
Yeah.
And that was when I had 7 items in my inventory that I want to masterwork, so. Right.
So I don't get what's going on, but I feel like I've seen this issue since the game launched, right? I don't know. Someone's not doing their job. UI UX, you know.
Yeah.
Because remember, say the vampiric powers, leveling them up. It's like
Oh my god.
One click. Sure, I mean, you can press escape, but
Yeah, it feels like they skipped the part of UX testing where you have a person sit down, a person who actually plays the game, sit down,
this is shit.
click the button, and be like, well, maybe this does
sucks.
take a little bit long if I click it 5 times, you know?
Yeah. yeah. I don't know why it keeps on going, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, this is easy to fix. So it's like, I think it's important to include that into the feedback because, hey, this is obviously not fun. Please do something about it. And then we obviously have the issue of if you fail a masterwork, you and that happens like 7 times in a row, you want to go outside and like, you know, touch some grass, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, obviously, it would be better if masterwork was a guaranteed success, but just increase the material cost at higher levels and maybe give it a chance to crit or something that it doesn't consume materials if you want to have some RNG mechanic that is not like negatively impacting you. No, let's add that. Give it chance to crit and not consume mats. Right. So how was your experience with masterworking? Anything you'd like to add there?
No, it's the same. I so when I stopped wanting to grind so much, it's because the first not breaking the tempering, and then the masterworking spamming, and then it's like okay, I was like I'll just help Slott do your craft, and then he'll test for me. He can suffer.
Yeah,
and
I
you
see.
too. So yeah, but yeah, basically the same experience.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Like, Slott gave very good feedback on Inner Sight. Like, he pointed out basically all of the flaws with it and went very thorough in it. I mean, I think the biggest problem with Inner Sight is obviously, we're gonna get to that later as well in detail. I think the biggest problem with Inner Sight right now is obviously there's no way to properly scale core skill damage, and obviously 135% that you can get on Paragon is absolutely underwhelming. And yeah. Like, how much is combo point a multiplier? Isn't combo points like basically a, depending on what core skill you use, like a 2x multiplier with 3 combo points? 2.2x, something like that?
Yeah, I did some like really like basic math on it. I looked at like let's say 4 barrages. Break is also something that people don't realize, which also affects inner sight, is precision, which I forgot to put in my feedback. But precision is bugged, and you only get the benefit in like the cast after you get the stacks.
Yeah, I included this.
on 3 basic school and barrage, I was like, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
But when you're spamming barrage, you're losing pretty often. You're losing a full powered barrage, right?
Yeah,
so if you do the math and you like do some basic, not even really comparing it because it gets much worse. It's like out of the bat, it's like combo point is at least 50% better than barrage.
Like,
and it's actually way more, but yeah.
In order to be competitive, I think the Leirana's bonus for Inner Sight should basically be doubled. And then we also might need a baseline buff to Inner Sight. Like, but yeah, I mean we can just scroll down there and talk about it right now, I guess. So Inner Sight, I think the most important thing with Inner Sight is actually to fix the gauge, that it actually includes dot and is easier to fill in general.
Yeah.
Maybe we could add something like it gains 5% passively per second or something.
Well, I mean, the main problem is, so I realized what was going on is they essentially fit a curve, right? So it's like you need to hit a certain amount of damage.
Yeah.
Well, a certain amount of, and it also decays, but you got to do a certain amount of damage to proc inner sight, right?
Yeah, it's like percentage based with the health of the enemy, right?
No, it's not that, but it felt like that, but it wasn't that. So what it actually, it's a flat amount, but it scales like a parabola, right?
Yeah.
And before, the parabola was fitted around level 154 mobs, being the highest level mobs, right?
Yeah.
So that's when the parabola was getting really parabolic, right? But now there's 200 level mobs and maybe even more.
It's basically a 90-degree curve at the end, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it just it's impossible to stack it at the end because the requirement is so high. So yeah, that's a main problem with it.
Yeah, all
But
that
honestly,
remains to be cool.
yeah, I mean, yeah. And I feel like design-wise, it doesn't make sense, right? Because something I put in my feedback is I feel like you should feel your character gets stronger.
Yeah.
And sure, the world around you also gets stronger, but your character gets stronger. With Inner Sight, your character gets weaker. It gets weaker as a level, not stronger, weaker.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is just, it's crazy.
Like, honestly, Inner Sight is like super good and levels 10 to like levels 20 to, because 20 is the level you unlock it. Levels 20 to 40, Inner Sight is actually really good. Because it feels super fast and you have a lot of energy issues in early levels, so Inner Sight feels good to play. But once you get like one energy aspect, you play combo points. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, the craziest part is you need even more right now. I mean, because of all the eternal cooldown, the scaling is up and all that.
Oh yeah, internal
you need
cooldown.
more. You need more energy regen on your Inner Sight build, the infinite energy build.
It needs more cool resource
points.
cost reduction. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yes, it's crazy.
All right. So obviously we need to fix the gauge feeling. I think Inner Sight should just have on itself written, while the gauge is full, you gain % increased damage multiplicative to core skills. Like, Inner Sight should be the thing to use if you want to focus on core skills.
Yeah, I like that. So what I was thinking is, so at first I was thinking like you, right? It's like,
you disagree, DZ? Okay, sure. Why? What would you do?
Yeah, sure.
Like, how would you design it, or like how would you approach it? I'm interested, legit, because I think obviously everyone agrees that Inner Sight is in a very bad spot right now, and does need some sort of rework in order to be viable. Because I think simply buffing the numbers on Inner Sight will not do it justice.
Yeah.
Unless you change combo points. Yeah, maybe that's true. Yeah, I mean, obviously combo points also does compete for the spot to be the thing to use with core skills. I think I have a suggestion for combo points, that you can gain combo points when using non-base skills as well, like just any non-core skill. Maybe we could also do something like there's more ways to spend combo points, maybe for ultimate skills, maybe for like agility skills or something. So yeah.
So something I feel with Inner Sight is, at first I thought like, right, core skills, yeah, it should be the spam your core skill specialization, right? But I feel like you can go one step further, right?
Yeah.
I feel like Inner Sight should be a home for all these spammy ass builds that put a lot of shit on the field, right? Like, so it should probably buff all damage you do while Inner Sight is active. Same with Leyrana, or maybe not Leyrana, but at least base Inner Sight, right?
Hey, hold on one second. Yo, we got a raid from Rob. 400 people coming in. Yo, what's up, guys? Hello. If you guys love Rogue and you guys love D4, you've come to the right place, because I'm Ippy. I'm Gauntlet Blaster and Speedrunner in Diablo 4. And I am Theory Crafter for maxroll for Rogue. And welcome to all rogues that ate too many proteins and became barbs. How you guys doing? Thank you for the raid, man. So you're GT 200 tier 200 rogue. Thank you, Rob, man. Thank you. Grüße gehen raus. Danke dir. Hey guys. Let's give a shout out to Rob. I mean, you guys probably know Rob, right? But let's give him a shout out. Anyway, thank you for the raid, man. Highly appreciate it. Welcome. Something I am joined by Sanctum right now. Also big rogue theory crafter. Fresh beat meant easy base god. Yeah, man. I'm joined by Sanctum right now to discuss a lot of the feedback that I want to like talk about the PTR and give all the feedback that we want and can to help make the game a better place. So yeah.
We just want to be barbs, except skinny.
Yeah, we just want to be skinny barbs, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, Thank you for all the follows, guys. Appreciate the love. Hope you had a good stream, Rob. Stars Mippy, can Rogue blast T200 Uber bosses? What's build's strongest build without lucky hit? So I killed Uber Grig in like 22 seconds with Surge Rogue. Obviously, Surge Rogue has a little bit of an issue with like, the thing is the damage on Surge Rogue is actually not the bug thing. Surge just procs too often because the lucky hit chance gets increased if you masterwork it. And that obviously should not be the case. Like, the lucky hit chance should be fixed at 40%, but it actually increases if you masterwork it, which is also the reason why it breaks on two-handed weapons if you hit the masterwork crit on it, like the 25%. So, I guess if that gets fixed, bug fixed first, then it's time to evaluate if the damage is fine. And Sanctum, we basically conclude, okay, the damage calculation is actually correct, but maybe it should be toned down a little bit. But we have to see first how it behaves once the bug with the lucky hit chance is actually fixed about it. Anyway, without being too technical, if we don't account for Surge, then I think the strongest boss beginning build will still be Twisting Blade's Poison Imbuement. Maybe some sort of Rapid Fire or Barrage Poison Imbuement might also emerge for that. And yeah, Barb forward weapon Surge will be a thing if they fix the lucky hit chance, for sure. So I think
Barb anything.
I tried killing Grégoire with Poison Imbuement Twisting Blades Rogue. And that took me like 55 seconds. So it was like half as fast. Half as fast as Surge Rogue. I did not use Surge on that Twisting Blades build, so I mean, I think 1-ish minute is okay for an Uber boss if you solo him. So I guess that's okay. It's obviously.
How geared were you?
Yeah. Sub 1 minute is still very good. Yeah.
How much gear did you have on the TV?
How much gear? Oh, I was mid-maxed.
Oh, okay.
Like 100% mid-maxed. So I think that's pretty good. I mean, I could have had more stagger on that one. Like I at that point when I did it, I did not have the tempers that actually do like the chance to freeze, chance to daze, chance to mobilize, chance to stun. So I think if I could have staggered him a little bit faster on that Twisting Blades attempt. So I could have maybe shaved off 5 to 10 seconds. So let's say under perfect conditions, it would have been like a 45 to 40-ish seconds kill. So yeah, I think that's pretty good, honestly. I don't think we should ever be able to kill the hardest new Uber boss in sub 30 seconds. Yeah, I do agree. I think these should pose a challenge, and these should, like, if you kill the boss in sub 30 seconds, you can basically ignore any and all of the mechanics because they're not threatening to you. And I think you should be doing at least a little bit of dodging and a little bit of weaving around to play the mechanics a little bit, at least, to the Uber boss not just being a gear or damage check. Which I think is that would be a little bit boring if it was just that, you know? Yeah, would make the game boring again, make us do the mechanics. Exactly, Caddyshack. Exactly what I basically just wanted to say. So yeah. So I think for Rogue, Twisting Blades Poison would be probably the thing to go to if you take Surge away. But honestly, I hope Blizzard basically fixes the bugs with Surge and then reevaluates if it needs tuning down. Obviously, it needs tuning down for leveling, because it should scale with player and weapon level, so it's not OP while leveling. But I think in endgame, it sits at a decent place, and once the lucky hit interactions with it are fixed, we would see a damage nerf by 50%, give or take. But then you could also stack the 2 surges of the same type, making it very potent again. So I'm very excited where it lands. I hope they don't gut Elemental Surge entirely, because I think Surge is a cool mechanic that is well designed in general. And it's actually fun because it opened up a whole new archetype on Rogue. Like, at the end of PTR was also experimenting with Surge in Penshot, because Penshot is a very good core skill to trigger lucky hits with, and it also has a huge AoE if you take Trickshot. So, having to use using a core skill just as a proxy to gain lucky hit chances and lucky hit effects is kind of a cool concept, and I think this proc rogue archetype is definitely very fun. You can include grenades into that, you can include surge into that, you can include bursting venoms, for example, or maybe even some other procs. I think it's a cool concept, and I think it is cool to build upon that.
Yeah,
Like,
proccing stuff is
yeah.
always fun. Pretty much. That's why I was so excited about the flurry grenade build, but
Yeah.
they just missed the tuning on that one, honestly.
Thank you for the follow, Sniper. What I also think is kind of fun is the fact that basically the new things for Rogue, like Volatile Shadows, for example, was changed. Volatile Shadows procs now a Shadow Explosion whenever a Dark Shroud stack is removed from you, and that applies Shadow Imbuement. And I think this is super cool because it opens up new interactions. Like, this explosion from Volatile Shadows can actually lucky hit again because it applies Shadow Imbuement, and applying Shadow Imbuement is a thing that applies the lucky hit chance of Shadow Imbuement. So this was basically one thing that we used to proc more surges and gain AoE in a surge build. I think this is a super cool interaction, and I would like to see more of those interactions. Basically. Right.
Yeah. I don't know how he even realized Rise. But yeah, it was so cool when I saw that. I was like, because I asked him, right? That's not X-Fault. Like, X-Fault doesn't look that way.
Yeah,
it
exactly.
It could be green, right?
Yeah.
And then he was like, Volatile Shadows. Shit.
Yeah, big props to Rise here to figuring out like the Volatile Shadows to action. That was super cool and made the build really, really interesting. Right. Anyway, we talked a little bit about masterworking now, tempering. I think material economy is also a thing that we have to talk about for PTR.
Yeah.
At some point, I was basically, obviously, we have to kind of take a step back and realize, okay, on PTR, we were basically able to create infinite materials by creating new characters. But just from farming, it was very apparent that some materials are appearing way more often and used way more often than other materials. Like whale crystals, for example, right?
Yeah.
Like, did you actually get to the point where you ran out of materials of some sort?
Yeah. I had to create more characters.
Yeah, me too.
It was always a pain because it was just like, okay, do I kill all my codex? Yeah, okay. You got to do it because
Yeah.
it's just process to buy, right?
I think in total I created about 500 characters on PTR, maybe even more. So I was gem capped, I was gold capped, but I still managed to burn a grand total of 150k veil crystals. So it was pretty absurd, actually. And it's not like I was just, okay, let me, okay, that was before I tried to roll one more max health on a two-handed weapon. That obviously doesn't count because that was just OCD kicking in. But just generally trying to min-max the items for 2 builds has cost me 150k veil crystals. I think that's absolutely absurd. Like, it should not be that high.
It's way too much. Obviously.
I mean, the devs did acknowledge very early, okay, we are aware that veil crystals are being consumed like, water in a desert, so...
I do think something that's easy to miss is that not only are veil crystals a huge bottleneck, but also the main thing you're gonna play, which, well, I guess depending on the seasonal mechanic, which is the pit, barely even drops any. Because when you salvage legendaries, like no veiled crystal,
you get no.
So.
Yeah, that's something I added as well. Like, the pit should definitely drop crafting materials, like, a lot more. Because, I mean, it kind of depends on what you regard as the endgame activity. Obviously, the game aims to have more than just one endgame activity in general, right? But I think pit is definitely one of the most prominent endgame activities that we're going to get in Season 4, and I think a lot of people will run them. Especially once you got a few, once you got your Uber uniques from the Uber bosses, I think you won't be farming them that much more again, unless you specifically want to grind for the 3 greater affix Turiel's might with, everything.
there's no way.
But yeah, there's no way. I mean, but the thing is, that is something that you could do, right?
Yeah,
The game
yeah,
allows you to do this, and this is a thing that we have to take into account, right? But let's say you don't
Yeah.
do that. What will you be doing? Pushing Gauntlet, if that is a thing still, probably. Or, well, pushing the pit. And I think the pit should be harder, not in terms of damage intake, but in terms of how much health the mobs have in tier 200.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it depends. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think the damage intake is fine. Mainly because it was tuned way down, the defenses of classes.
That's
Sure,
true.
I mean, some are a bit overtuned, but yeah, but you shouldn't be able to CC a mob, any mob, kill it, and just move on with your life, because that's just, it's dumb.
Yeah. I mean, one sec. How's Rogue looking? Is asked by even more girly. I think Rogue in general right now is in a weak spot because of fundamental problems with its basic kit. We should be the highest DPS class and the squishiest class as well. Right now we are the squishiest class and one of the lowest DPS classes. So I think there's a little bit of a mismatch in the Rogue fantasy that is basically due to Rogue's basic things like core skills and just general, just the fundamental things of Rogue are a little bit undertuned right now, and do need some help in certain aspects. And we're gonna go talk about that a little bit further down below as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I probably agree. It's mostly, yeah, the mobs have to be tankier. I mean, I know people don't like that, but it's not healthy for the game where you can CC all the mobs and just kill them before they even do anything. And AOC, sure, AOC had a lot of problems, but in part, I mean, it enabled some more strategic and gameplay, because mobs went unstoppable, right? And you couldn't just like
mobs actually went
through.
unstoppable in AOZ. Yeah, that was I think that was kind of cool because it
cool.
required you to have a more methodical approach at how you do these higher tiers. I honestly think there should be content in the game that you can speedrun and just blast through it without thinking much about it and just have a good time, and that is still a rewarding activity that gives you loot, that gives you mats, that gives you useful stuff. But there should also be pinnacle content that requires you to take a step back, think about your approach, and try to get more things out of how you play the class. Like AOZ back then in Season 2 highlighted a lot of problems in the game and in the class balance, which was not apparent when there was no content that was hard enough to warrant going into a min-max territory this deeply. I want a rogue that blows shit up with core skills. If I die due to being too squishy, that's my fault. Yeah, exactly. Like, rogue should be a class that rewards high skill play with high damage.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. I do think
it's pretty on point.
It's tough. I mean, we'll get into it later, but it's tough to design that in an ARPG, which is,
yes,
for definitely. The most part, ARPGs are designed to make your character like a freight train that just goes through, forward and in space and murders stuff around you,
Exactly. Yeah.
And the glass cannon playstyle, I mean, it's not that it doesn't work that well with that kind of thing. But you can design the class in a way where you can't be more glass cannon.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
It's not designed that way. It's just like any other class except squishy and doesn't even do that much damage. Pretty much.
Yeah, that's true. So I think the other stuff's on the list here is pretty clear. Like tempering manuals, it was very unclear where to actually get them until people figured out, okay, this drops mainly from bosses, so go farm bosses and you'll get them. But I think they are generally too rare in the overworld. Like when you're doing helltides and do like the Blood Maiden or the heralds or something that spawn there, these should also have like a decent chance to give you these tempering materials. Like I think in over 20 hours of helltide that I have farmed in PTR, I got one single tempering manual and it was from a chest. So, yeah, I think that is a little bit imbalanced.
Yeah, something I'm a bit worried about is, so I know I had that feeling at one point, but it's different because I could spawn items, right? But
Yeah,
is that, let's say you're leveling, right? You're
yeah,
leveling, you're progressing your character, you find a really cool item, and you don't even want to do anything with it because you can't reset tempers, and you don't
yes,
have the manual you want. It's like, what, you just
yes.
keep the item stashed away. You don't get to use your super cool item you just got because manuals are so rare. It
Mm.
feels, I don't know if,
I
I
mean,
mean, we'll see how it plays out in the actual
yeah,
game, but
yeah. I mean, the
I feel
thing
like,
is, I
yeah,
think the leveling experience will be a lot shorter now because they do a bunch of things to buff XP and make it easier to level to 100. But I think the leveling experience is still very important because not everyone will be playing a super optimized leveling route where they know the class in and out and blast to level 100 in like 12 hours or something. That's not gonna happen. Like that's not the case for the majority of the players. And I think for many people, having a balanced leveling experience is very important. So
yeah,
yeah, as you said, you find a really cool item, but you hold out on using or tempering it because you don't want to waste a low level temper on such a good item, because then you would basically, what you would do would be bricking the item or removing tempering attempts
yeah,
on a really good item with
yeah,
like magic or rare tempering manuals when you could be using the legendary tempering manuals instead.
yeah. I mean,
So
maybe if there was a mechanic where you could upgrade it later, then
yeah, that would be
maybe.
cool. Yeah, like spend some materials to
Uh,
upgrade the rare tempering to
yeah,
to a legendary tempering. That would be really
once you
cool. Yeah.
unlock it, yeah,
Yeah.
that would be cool.
Let me add that actually because I think that's really good. Uh, right. I think that's a good thing. That's actually a good suggestion. Definitely should include that. Right. So and then weighted affixes are back. That
Yeah,
is very apparent. Like max life per second, dexterity rolling on every single item where it is possible, pretty much. So what do you think about that?
I don't like it because, I mean, I don't know. It's just, it feels bad, honestly, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
almost every time you re-roll, it's not one of those that you. I mean, it's not the ones that roll all the time. So it's just you're just rolling all the time for no reason, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Like
I
I
don't see
think
the benefit.
I think the main issue is, okay, let's say you find a ring with two greater affixes that you want. Let's say you want Dex and you want Max Life on the ring. And these are the two greater affixes. The third one you want is Crit Chance.
Good luck.
Crit Chance is not present on the item.
Yeah,
You will be
it's not
stuck
gonna
rerolling
happen.
this item a million times. Pretty much, because
Yeah,
Crit Chance is weighted so low to appear on the item that you have basically no chance of ever seeing this item with a greater FX crit chance in the first place. And then you
and the
re-roll
roll
it
rate,
so many times to actually get crit chance because it's weighted so incredibly low. Yeah.
and then it min rolls.
And then it min rolls, and you have to roll it again. And the most infuriating thing is like the stats with the lowly weighted affixes have an actually insane affix range. Like crit
Yes,
chance,
yes, yeah.
1.8% to 5% is absolutely wild. It should never be this high. Rolling amulet was a nightmare. Yeah. Some of you might have seen that I found this amulet with two passives already present, and I rolled the third passive on it. I think I rolled this item around 700 times before seeing this passive. It was absolutely crazy. Uh,
Yeah, I
yeah,
actually
like
got one of those,
let
and
me
I tried to get
let
the
me
third
see
one, and I
let
gave
me
up.
see if I can find this. Hang on.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find this. So this is like the item, right?
Oh,
I
shit.
found this, and okay, now we have to consider a multitude of things, right? I got this with Weapon Mastery, Malice already on, and I rolled Exploit in it. At first, I spent around 700 rerolls to see Exploit rank 2. I think I saw max movement speed 7 times before that. Then, I need to not whiff on the tempering. Like, I ideally would want dodge chance, right? Instead of movement speed, with a very ideal world where I get like greater affix movement speed on the boots, masterwork that twice, and have movement speed elsewhere. Didn't happen, right? So I went with a safe movement speed here because I got that first roll, and then I took damage to close enemies, which is basically whatever. But not only that, then I need to start masterworking this item, and I have to choose between, do I want to split my 3 crits on all of the 3 passives to get them all to rank 3? Do I want to hit one of those passive 3 times to get it to +4? Because you have to hit it 3 times with Masterwork to get it to +4. So I reset this item, I think, around, I don't know, 1,000 times to actually get +4 Weapon Mastery. Because the chance is just so abysmally low to hit all of the 3 Masterworks on the same passive. That's crazy. So, yeah. I think I spent a total of 10 hours to get this item. So yeah.
It just has to go. I mean, I don't get it, right? Because it went away because it felt bad, and now it's back. Maybe it's an oversight. It might be an oversight, but yeah, explicitly went away because it felt bad. Not getting all the cool affixes you want.
Yeah, exactly, Vision. This is exactly what we have been saying. Like, this is a suggestion we definitely need. Reset tempering, make it expensive. So you can theoretically do it infinitely, but it does cost you material, like a high amount of materials, a high amount of gold, something to basically unbrick an item. Because imagine if this item had 2 greater affixes already, right? Or even 3 greater affixes, and then I whiff on the tempering just because I got unlucky. I found this perfect item, and then it's just bad because I didn't get the tempering stats that I want. I think this would feel excruciatingly bad, and I think most people would literally go uninstall after they feel this. So yeah, definitely has to go. Right. So, what else is there? Elemental Surge, we talked about that. Lucky agents is bugged. Damage is fine. Pretty much what testing showed. You brick the triple GA dagger, life, dex, attack speed. Oh my god. Okay, I didn't, in all of my hours creating 500 new characters and playing the game in PTR, I did never even see a 3 GA dagger. I didn't even see a 2 GA dagger. I had people trade me 2 GA daggers that I then bricked. That was actually hilarious. Like, this is so mental. I had a full stash tab of bricked gear with 2 greater affixes, like with 1 or 2 greater affixes. So yeah, this is definitely something that has to change in some way. Like, we need some way to reset it. Anyway, overarching class balance. What do you think, Sanctum, of the suggestion that all classes should have access to 4 offensive weapon slots? Like, be it 200,
like... I actually disagree. I've been discussing this the past day. So I feel like if we view it right from like a small point of view, only weapons, like, oh hey, barbs have 4 weapons, other classes have 3 weapons, 2 weapons. How do they compete? They can't. Well, it's not that simple, right? Because the power of a class is all of the things added together, right? Or more accurately, multiplied together, right?
Yeah. Like,
so in theory, you can balance it. I do think there's a problem now with temperings, where, for example, let's say you're a druid or sork, and your build uses a 2-handed unique. You just don't have weapon tempers in it. Even beyond... Wait, give me a second.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Vision, I feel you on that one, man. It's just a horrible feeling. Like, you get this perfect item and you're super excited about it. It's like, oh my god, I got the perfect thing. I want to use it right now. And then you go and temper it, and then you just don't get what you want. It's just very infuriating. Okay, go on, please, Sanctum. You were
I'm
on
back,
about
I'm
like
back.
the things that make other classes and stuff.
Yeah, so imagine like you're a Sork or a Druid, your build uses, for example, Stormclaw Druid, right? Uses the staff of the Crone. You just that's it. No tempers for you. And even beyond like that, maybe the build is less powerful because of it, right? You can just buff the build. It feels bad, you know. It's like this cool new mechanic. All the coolest tempers are mostly in the weapons, and you can't use it because you only have one staff. So I do feel all classes should probably get 3 weapons, and Barb can keep their extra two-handed weapon. They just have to be balanced, right? They can't be powerful on the multipliers, on the defense, on the even mobility. They don't have bad mobility on the dam. They just got to be balanced. They can keep their weapon, right? Just make them balanced, right? Tune them down somewhere else, and give all the classes 3 weapons probably. So it just feels bad now with temperance. Even beyond balance, it just feels bad. So yeah, that's my view on it.
Yeah, definitely.
But it would be easier to balance it if everyone just had 4 weapons, right? I'm not gonna lie. 2 extra rings.
Maybe you give the other classes. I mean, this is what I basically suggest, right? That other classes do get some stuff. Like, you could get another 2-handed slot, or like even 1-handed slot, right? Like the 50% or like the just regular percent increase to affixes slot to other classes as well. Like, you could give Rogue a quiver or like a knife belt, something like that, which makes a lot of sense thematically. You could add orbs to Sorcerer that could potentially be tuned to an element or something. Phylacteries for Necros could have defensive stuff, could also have offensive stuff. And like runestones for Druid to maybe even further alter some things. There's a lot of potential for that. And I think it's like, as you said, it's important to regard the full range of things that influence a class's power level. And obviously the weapon slots are only one part of that, or the availability of affixes also plays into that. You might have a lot of offensive aspect slots, right? But maybe your class does not have enough good enough aspects to put on them. Like, let's take Rogue, for example. What would you even put in certain builds? There's not even enough offensive aspects that you would put in, because none of them are synergistic with the build.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
I really like the quiver orbs. That one. I wish we had like one unique slot, and that slot had even the real cool affixes, you know, because
like
then
affixes
it's easier to balance, right?
Yeah, like affixes that are basically contained for the class. Like a quiver, for example, could have stats like your marksman skills have chance to cast twice, or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or like just more things that fit thematically with the class. Maybe an execute or something. Maybe heals. I don't know. It depends on the class, obviously. Just like a little bit more freedom for the devs to explore affixes within the class itself.
Yeah, and maybe you could even do it like class-specific aspects get a bonus there, and general aspects don't. And you can play with it, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of potential for things like this, and I think this would be very good for the game to just have more options, right? It would deepen the itemization a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I mean, the thing is also, let's say you play a 2-handed unique right now in Druid or Sorcerer. That means you can have no access to weapon tempers anymore.
Like, yeah, that's what I was saying.
How many uniques are actually so good in that slot that you could basically say, okay, I don't need weapon tempers. Like, the unique would have to be absurdly overpowered to make you consider that.
Yeah, but I feel like what's even worse is even beyond balance. Like, let's say, okay, for example, Stormclaw, the build is literally enabled by a two-handed staff, right? So
Yeah, that's
by
true.
Tempest view, let's say you bounce, you take that into account. You go like, okay, well the build's kind of suffer in
Mm.
relative terms. Let's buff it.
Yeah,
It
not
feels
so soft.
bad, right? Everyone's playing with like Tempers, and and you don't get to play with Tempers. I don't know. It feels bad. Beyond the balance aspect, it just feels bad if you can't play around with Tempers
Yeah.
and play around with the cool aspects of it, right?
Yeah, like there's a
But
lot of cool weapon aspects that you could imprint, but or like temper, but then you just don't because you can't use them. And I think that's a little bit sad because how interesting would these builds be if they had access to this unique and to some tempers that maybe benefit the build? Would be really cool.
yeah. Oh yeah. Also, uniques probably should just get buffed, especially weapons. Unique weapons need buffs.
Yeah. Right. So what do you think about the helltide? The updated helltide.
Better.
One
Yeah,
temper on
it's-
uniques? Yeah, that's also an interesting thought. Just having one temper available, yeah. And then you can pick which one you want. Like just freely. Would also be interesting.
Hot dice are better. Yeah, they're fun. I just wish. So I don't know if you saw the consumable that increased the level of mobs inside the Helltide. Maybe
Yeah.
the seasonal mechanic has something to do with that, and maybe,
maybe.
like skills Helltide. It would be so cool if they skilled Helltide.
Yeah, that would make
Then I
sense.
wouldn't mind
honestly.
so much like going into Helltide for materials. You know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think
But
Helltides feel like a good place to farm. It's a lot less mundane. You actually have to kill mobs now instead of clicking Screaming Hellveins.
opening a map on your second screen and just walking around.
I think it's really good, and I think I like this enrage mechanic that spawns mobs. What I don't like about it though is it incentivizes group farming so incredibly much, because if you have 4 people filling their rage bar, you will basically just keep chain procking the rages from the mobs the other people spawned. So you basically just stand on top of an event, or like the Blood Maiden, or one of those altar things that keep spawning mobs, and you just keep proccing Frenzy over and over, and then the Frenzy of the other people's proc, and then the event refreshes, and then the Blood Maiden comes again, and then the other thing refreshes, and you basically don't even move really on the map, which is okay because that is also an interesting concept, right? But I think it's a little bit too good, but I also don't think it is easy to balance this by just tuning spawn rates or something, because this is just the inherent nature of more people standing there. And let's say you're in a clan, right? And you have like 20 people in this clan, and you invite everyone into a group, leave the group, and have 20 people stand next to each other and keep procking these waves. That's just absurd at some point.
Yeah. Leveling will be so fast if this stays.
Leveling as well, yeah. Like at this point, we won't see 4-man leveling groups. We will see 15-man leveling groups, or like 20-man, because that's the maximum amount of people that can be on one layer, right?
Leveling clans.
We will literally see leveling clans in the race probably, because people will be standing next to each other and spamming. Like in season 3, that was obviously also possible with the harvest, like the tech harvest farming, right? But people didn't realize that this is probably the best thing to do to level up until like the race was already over. But let's imagine people had actually done that during the race and not like only for the last 10 levels when they figured out, okay, this is actually really good.
It would be so silly.
Yeah, like the leveling to 100 race will basically be who can abuse this mechanic the best, the most efficient. So yeah.
So one thing I will say, maybe it's not so bad. I mean, there's probably things you can do to cap that out a bit, but
yeah.
I mean, the system itself is pretty fun when used appropriately.
Oh yeah, it is fun. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it is definitely just more fun to do it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if they don't find a way to cap it out, I mean, I prefer. I mean, fuck it, let it go wild, and at least it's fun, you know.
I agree. So speaking about group play, how do you feel about group play in Diablo 4 in general?
It's too mandatory, but from my subjective experience, I'm used to playing games with other people, being in Discord, talking.
Yeah.
So I find them way more fun. I mean, if I had to do Uber bosses solo, oh my god, dude, I'll go crazy. Like I wouldn't be able to do it. But with other people, it's
Yeah.
doable.
Like chilling in
So in
Discord,
that way,
chatting
I like it.
while doing it is
Yeah,
like a lot more
yeah,
enjoyable than just mindlessly bashing your head against this wall with this boss and, you know,
yeah,
just hoping to drop the Shaco at some point.
yeah. I mean, the problem is with the game is, I mean, there's no group find. Oh well, you said it there. There's no
Yeah.
group finder.
Yeah. It's right here.
I actually would like if the game had more group stuff.
Yeah.
Like actual
Yeah.
group stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, for example, one thing that I came up with when I was talking about like the game today with some other people is like, why is there no dedicated group activity in the game? Like, let's say you have a sort of hell gate where you go back to the campaign area. You might remember when you go into into the hell gate with like all the story NPCs, right? And you fight
Yeah.
Duriel there, and there's like a version of Ashava as well. I think it was Ashava, it wasn't Duriel actually, right? You slaughter
So
through these forces of hell, you fight Ashava there, and then the story progresses, right? What if something like this would be a dedicated group activity that you can only enter when everyone in the group puts in one material, right? And then the gate opens, and then you go clear this rift, which is actually decently difficult, and then it spawns a really difficult tormented boss, right? That is designed to be tackled as a group with certain mechanics that do require some sort of group play, right? I think
mean,
the Malphas that we had in season 3 did have something like this because you had to split up in the 4 lanes and pick up the cube and, you know, put it in and stuff. I think this is obviously not what I would envision because that doesn't really promote group play. It's just everyone does his thing separately and then at the end you fight the boss. But yeah.
I mean, you don't have to convince me. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I like all that stuff. It's like if the game was a bit more like Lost Ark without all the pay to win and all the forced
Yeah.
grinds
Yeah.
and all
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
it would be better for me.
Yeah.
But I know it's controversial. Some people don't like it.
Yeah. I think
I mean,
that
for me, it's fun.
I just think there's potential for that, and I think it's worth to explore this. Keddy's asking, would Uber Unique still be as impactful with the tempering and masterworking? Okay, so there are certain Uber Uniques that are very useful. I think Shaco is definitely up on this list. Firstly, because the temperings and masterworkings, like you can masterwork Uber Uniques, that works, but you can't temper them. And the interesting thing about tempering on helmets is there is not that much good stuff to temper on helmets that I would say a legendary helmet is absolutely mandatory. You would run might anyway on a helmet for rogues, for example, and just replacing that with Shaco and getting 4 additional skill ranks on top of that is probably very, very good in terms of how efficient Shaco is. Shaco is not going to be the absolute super good boost to your DPS. Like in season 3 right now, Shaco is infinitely better than a regular helmet. This will be a lot closer in season 4, I think. But it's still going to be better than the item you want to chase for. What other uniques do you see, Sanctum?
I mean, Starless, because it's X 40%.
Yes, Starless.
I mean, it's. I don't know for all classes. I don't know. Some other classes might have better aspects, but our aspects suck ass. So sometimes you don't even have an aspect to put in the build. So Starless, there you go. X 40%.
And also the stats in Starless are actually decent.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
So those two mainly.
Yeah.
Doombringer, I don't know. I feel like you lose so much damage with Doombringer. It's just not worth it.
I think Doombringer, especially because it blocks a weapon slot, is just too restrictive. If you want a defensive item, you would probably just run Tyraels. Right?
Yeah. Well, because, I mean, losing 10 ranks of Dark Shroud.
Yeah, I think losing 10 ranks of Dark Shroud does really, really hurt you, though. Even if you get more maximum resist and flat damage reduction, I am not convinced that does make up for losing the ranks of Darkshroud. And here's the big thing. It all depends on how much damage the Tyraels deals. I saw Vodiju testing it and reporting back on it. He said it doesn't deal that much damage for Rogue, obviously, because Rogue has a really hard time to scale flat damage effects with the formula that we have seen. But I think it's possible. I think it is very well possible to make Rogue good at scaling flat damage effects. It just requires a little bit more work. Like just stacking the hell out of decks, for example. I think he tried it with like 800 decks, and that doesn't surprise me that it didn't deal much damage then. So I think you have to build into flat damage effects if you want to actually utilize them, which I think is good. Like with Surge, for example, I noticed a definitive shift in priority of affixes when you actually build for it. And I think Tyraels will do the same thing and give you a nice defensive bonus. What I'm very, very upset about is that Tyraels does not get copied by the Shadow Clone. It would be very good if it did that, but it doesn't. So yeah.
You know what's weird? So much stuff don't get copied by Shadow Clone, but the new rapid fire unique that gets copied.
Yeah, and also Intercom works with it.
Yeah, somehow.
Yeah.
So weird.
No. Like, if Tyraels was copied by Clone would instantly be useful again. Because then we could basically play the Gauntlet Beverage spam build in Season 4 with Tyraels Might. It would be so good, and it would be such an interesting build.
Content. In actual content.
Yeah, in actual content, we would play Shadow Clone, and it would be a fun build. But currently Tyraels does not copy it, so yeah. Yeah, let me add that to the sheet as well. Clone. Right. Right. We were on about group play. So I think what's also important to note about group play is in order to make group play more attractive, I think it is important for the classes to feed more into certain class identities. Because right now, every class is a DPS class at heart. Every class can do everything, right? Which I think is inherently not a bad thing, but I think it would be better if it was more nuanced than this, right?
I'm conflicted on that because it's a bit tough.
Yeah,
to balance.
It's definitely a hot topic, right?
Yeah, I mean, I like it. Look, I like MMOs. I like that, but that one's a bit. I think general public probably don't like it. I think if you design the boss fights where you have to do mechanics at the same time, right? Let's say if one guy, sure, obviously it's not great when the other guy kills the boss. I mean,
in 10 seconds.
Fucks up let's say you got to do mechanics at the same time. Now, let's say two people got to stand at a certain spot, and then the other guy fucks up. Yeah, sure, it's bad, but I feel like that's a good way to implement group mechanics, right? Where you have to do simultaneous and different mechanics,
like raids, for example.
Yeah, right? like raids. You know, I feel like that would be pretty cool
in a very simplified and not too.
Of course,
drawn out way, because we're still playing an action RPG and not like an MMORPG.
Yeah,
right?
I don't want a 30-minute mythic progression. No.
That obviously does not fit the theme of Diablo. But I think certain design choices from that can be implemented, and with pit bosses, we do see WoW-esque boss mechanics that you actually have to dodge them to not be killed by them.
Yeah.
And I think this is good for the game.
Yeah, me too.
Obviously, these things don't one-shot you outright if you're built properly, but they deal enough damage that you can't just out-tank them all the time.
Yeah, I think that's good for the game for sure. I feel like it's probably, I mean, let's be honest, it's not gonna be in the game for a long time. But maybe with expansion, maybe after, if they hear enough feedback about it.
Honestly, I can see some sort of rape type things coming with the expansion. That would be a fitting theme, right? To include that in an expansion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know if you played Diablo Immortal. It was a shit game.
No, I
But
haven't.
look,
I stayed clear
the
of
group
that.
stuff, the group stuff was fun, dude. Yeah, if we ignore the pay to win, if we ignore the cap and level and all that
Yeah.
bullshit, it was fun, dude. The group stuff was fun. It was honestly pretty fun. And I wish this game was a bit more like that one in that regard. So yeah.
So yeah. Right. I think touching on group play is fine. We talked about Pit. I think Pit should be a little bit more difficult in the higher tiers, and then have chance to drop like tempering reset materials and like more crafting materials in general.
Yeah,
Right.
I feel also like it should just make a skill infinitely. What's the downside?
Yeah.
Like some guy who's never even gonna push the pit, feeling FOMO because he will never clear it. I don't know. Come on.
I don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a thing. Like I think, as you said earlier, right? AOZ was very interesting in the higher tiers. Obviously, AOZ had massive problems, like Tears of Blood scaling nearly infinitely and was like a pain to level. And class balance was basically non-existence with Barbs dominating everything and then Sorks like closely behind.
Yeah, and the Bloodseeker combos and
yeah, and
the
like
affix
too many
combos, all that stuff.
too many one-shot mechanics
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
But
And like
Pit,
only one attempt was also like horrendous
yeah,
design, right?
yeah.
Like
Pit
right now
way
feels
better.
so much better in Pit, yeah. Like obviously dying is still bad because you lose time, right? But at least if you die at the boss, you can just, go again. Or like, oh, I forgot to dodge this mechanic. Let me try again. I kill him now. I get my loot. Everything's fine, right? And
yeah, or maybe you die and you're short on time, so now you got to play more risky.
yeah. For example, right? To just still beat the timer, right?
Yeah, and sure, maybe you
It's
die
good
again
design.
because you're playing risky, but that's good, That's
But it's
fun.
good design because it incentivizes the player to think about his playstyle still, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, and also, I mean, in D3, I mean, I didn't play that much D3, but I know people when they were farming, they weren't farming, the highest greater rift they could do. I know I didn't farm the highest one, so it's like there's no point in not being infinite. Like sure, if you're pushing it like pushing me 10 minutes, that's not gonna be the best way to farm, and it shouldn't be. Maybe you drop down 30 tiers and then you farm there. That's fine. I don't know why it can't be infinite, honestly.
Yeah. Yo,
I don't
Slot.
see any downside.
What's up, Slot? Can I eat this big hit with full dark shot stacks? Came up for me a lot in Pit vs boss. Yeah, that's true. Oh, Slot, if you want to join in on the conversation and also be on stream, then please shoot me a message on Discord and I can get you in if you want.
Just in time for Inner
Yeah, just in time for like we're gonna talk about Inner a lot, and I think you can give a lot of input on that. So if you want, then you're in. Okay, then just join one of the voice channels on Discord. Join in the voice channels on Discord, and I'll drag you in. And update the title as well. Sanctum and Slott update. Right. Post that in Rogue Chat too. Right. Wait, what do I do? Oh, just join one of the voice channels on my Discord. Then I can drag you into our conversation. Alright. I dragged you in. Hey Slot, what's up?
Wait, am I working? I'm working. Hi.
Yeah, it works. It's like
Turn up the volume a little bit. If Slot is too loud on stream, then please do tell me. I do try to keep the mixer going, but it's gonna be hard balancing Sanctum and Slot for the stream correctly. Can you say something real quick, Slot?
Hello. I'm here. I have a lot of rage about Inner Sight.
Might be a little bit too low. Push him up a little bit. All right. The Sanctum. Oh yeah, you said last tier should not be clearable unless there's some Giga OP build. Ah, that's an interesting concept. Yeah. do
Like
this.
I know from friends that played a lot of D3.
Yeah.
Once 150 was actually clearable and the meta was not pushing and more how fast you can clear it.
Yes. That was yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah.
good, right? Sure, it was still fun and all, but
Like,
it wasn't the same.
obviously D3 had this problem of infinitely scaling paragons, so your character became stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger
Yes,
the more you played, which is inherently not great design, I think. But there were still seasons where even though this happened, you could not clear the highest tier, even with a dedicated group to doing so. And you would like fall back like 20 tiers or something where you could actually speed farm it for efficiency.
Yeah. And I think if you ask anyone who did that, they would say, yeah, that was more fun than speed running 150.
Yeah, for sure. Right. So Slott, Slott's like the expert for inner sight on PTR. I think no one has spent as much time testing inner sight as much as Slott has done. So I think we now that Slott's here, let's actually just put in the new thing suggestion part for later, and talk about inner sight, right? So specializations. I think inner sight needs a lot of work and a lot of help. And what are your thoughts, Slott? Take it away.
Okay. I did a lot of testing here, and I think it was like interesting to play this spec from the start of PTR and work my way up in Pit and Nightmare dungeons. And the further I got into it, the worse it got. And it seemed at first I wasn't sure why. Why is it taking me 15 seconds to proc this 4-second specialization against the boss? Why is it now taking me 20, 30 seconds? I remember it was like the first time I did that new helltide boss, I forget her name, and it took me like 30 or 40 seconds to proc inner sight against her. And it was so, I was like, what's going on here? What's wrong? Do I put more points into innervate? Do I put more points into resource cost reduction, etc.? And it started just feeling miserable. So I started changing up the build. I started getting really frustrated. I wanted to give up on it. I was like, let's try more damage. More damage is faster inner sight, right? And that really showed off the difference between a pure physical scaling build and a poison scaling build, because I tried both with inner sight. Poison doesn't scale your inner sight at all.
Yeah.
And it started getting to the point where on like a nightmare, on a Pit 200 boss, where I didn't even know this before, inner sight actually degrades over time. And I was actually having to fight against that degradation, where I would start seeing my inner sight bar going down before I could proc it one time. That part fundamentally is miserable about the specialization. Where on a boss like Lilith with the same spec, it takes 2 attacks. On a Nightmare 100 boss, it takes 2 seconds. And on a Pit 200 boss, it takes 21 seconds. That fundamentally can't happen with that spec. That's like the first and biggest issue, is that you just can't play it because of that.
Yeah, like obviously inner sight needs a lot of help. Like we did highlight the problems with it now. What are your ideas how inner sight could actually be reworked, or like what should be changed about inner sight to make it more valuable?
Okay, for me to go into that, I don't know if you would agree with this, but I would like to tell you my like when I first heard, okay, inner sight's getting a buff, and I know I've seen you talk about class fantasy before, right?
Yeah.
So to me, I was like, oh, I could have this really cool spec, 4 seconds of downtime, I'll deal with it in some way. I can make my inner sight last 20 seconds, and it would be really cool if I could have this barrage build that's shooting a million arrows, because every arrow pierces, every arrow ricochets. It's going crazy, and you get arrow storms to go with it. And
sounds
arrow
cool.
storms to me, I was like, oh, this is like a cool idea, because I'm spraying the screen, and this is proccing a bunch of lucky hit effects.
Yeah, definitely.
The biggest issue with it is, and maybe I'm wrong here, maybe a barb can step in, because barbs have this new whirling tornado thing. But it feels like other classes can scale these lucky hit chance effects in some way, and because of the way that Rogue is built, where it's like you do, we don't get a lot of character sheet damage. We get like 20, 30, 40k. Everything else is some like hidden multiplier that if the boss has some effect, it multiplies your damage.
Yeah,
But these don't seem to really affect Arrow Storms well.
No, that's
So-
like that's like the thing. When Ava was testing how flat damage scaling works on PTR now, what basically happened is you have this. Let me just put this very simple for everyone to understand. You have the flat damage. This is multiplied by dex. This is multiplied by certain additives affecting it, and then it's multiplied by a very select few things that do also benefit your character in a way, like multipliers. This is including but not limited to stuff like inner calm, edge masses for some reason, and then some very, very generic buffs like chip, which increases your physical damage, right? And that's basically it. Like, there's not much else that actually works for it. Most of the rogue damage passives don't work for it. Weapon mastery doesn't work for it. And that's why scaling flat damage is so awkward on rogue. And also
all
crit
of our
damage does not.
specializations too.
Yeah, specializations and crit, like combo points doesn't do anything for it. Core skill damage doesn't do anything for it. And it does also not scale with crit damage in any way because it's just flat damage, so it's unaffected by crit damage in any way.
Arrow Storms does.
Oh, okay, Arrow Storm does. Okay, so then it was
Yes.
then this was to that was the thing for Surge, I guess.
Right. So Arrow Storms did scale with crit. So if I would have like a 4k non-crit, I
Yeah.
had, I don't know, 1200 crit damage on the character sheet, which is probably 800 or something. The Arrow Storm would hit for like 24, 30, 40k. But
That's
it's
like-
like why are rogues scaling crit damage? And it's not because crit damage is good, it's because of precision. The
Yeah,
same
exactly.
reason if you're not looking for that crit damage to scale, just as an additive stat, there's better or easier ways to do that. It's because of these multipliers that just don't work with anything else but a core skill.
Did we talk about no witnesses only working with white gems and weapons and uniques? Ultimate damage was removed. And yeah, it's literally the same problem with Inner Sight, right? You can only gain core skill damage from paragons now, and it's a laughable like 100 something % that you can get. And if you regard an additive pool that is sitting in the 1,500 to potentially 2,500% additive, 135% is absolutely laughable. So yeah, like no witnesses falls under the same category as Leyrana's instinct right now. There's just no support for it anymore, and it's just so bad, honestly.
I kind of put Leyrana's and Ultimate Witnesses, no witnesses, sorry, into the same pool as Cunning Stratagem, where you don't really need to invest in that. It's like, if you're using combo points, hey, great, I have +2 arrows now on Rapid Fire, or Barrage, or something of that sort. But when people talk about Inner Sight, Leyrana is the defining feature, not Inner Sight, and that seems very backwards to me also.
Yeah. Like this is why I think it would be good to move this bonus from Leyrana's to Inner Sight itself at first. Like something like when your Gorgeous fall, you will deal increased multiplicative damage to core skills. Just without any condition, just a set bonus that you have active all the time when your Gorgeous fall. I think something like this could potentially help. Is that also something you suggested, or did you have another idea in mind of how Inner Sight could actually be scaled?
Oh man, I actually have to read my notes now. I can find it in the encyclopedia on what I said.
Yeah, it's fine.
I had a couple recommendations for it, but one was definitely of that effect. I mean, I don't know if you talked about this. I did a test with my Inner Sight build. I took the same exact gear where it took me 2.5 minutes to kill a pit boss with Inner Sight,
Mhm.
And all I did, I switched to combo points. I switched my Paragon board.
Yeah.
I switched intercom to expectant, and I killed the boss. Mind you, all of the gear had like inner sight, duration, and innervate on it in
Yeah.
45 seconds. And that just shows how bad it is. Like 25% crit chance, like, okay, great, what are you doing for me?
Yeah.
Something small, I use precision anyway. Why is this here? There's like
Yeah.
nothing you can really do with it.
Yeah, the
It
crit
needs
chance is
some
awkward,
damage
honestly.
somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just I don't know. I mean,
I guess I have to run into this like combo points thing again. And I'm sorry if I this is a big frustration for me this week. Combo points doesn't have to invest in energy, right? You can basically, so you can negate that complete part of it. And the bonus from combo points, it takes like 4 normal barrages to equal 1 barrage with combo points.
yeah.
So where is the benefit to using inner sight if that's the case?
Like it's a very similar issue to the consideration when you play Rain of Arrows in a precision based build right now, right? You basically have to consider, okay, do I want to fire Rain of Arrows? Or do I want to fire 6 barrages in the same time?
Right.
So yeah. Flat damage boost for inner sight. Like, yeah, that could also work. Obviously, inner
I
sight
would
needs
like it
help.
removed from core. Yeah, I mean, like, why?
Yeah.
I think combo points is the core ability, right?
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Combo
Okay,
points only helps
okay.
core.
But then again, what do you spend energy with if you play inner sight?
Yeah,
Like-
of course, but I feel like inner sight is the spammy build, right? Where maybe it's not all about the core skill, and it's about what the core skill does, you know, and that's
Oh yeah,
why.
like proccing lucky hits effects, for example, with the core skill.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So it could be a home for all those type of spammy builds that want to put a lot of
Yeah,
bullshit
that's
in
interesting.
and the field, you know. And for that to be the case, I think it has to, first of all, has to be easier to proc and maintain, but also it has to buff all damage, you know. It could be the way that rogues scale flat damage, you know, because right now it's so hard, right? Well, if,
Yeah,
like,
that's
for
true.
example, inner sight has a scaling all
That's a good
damage
point.
component that's balanced, you know, it could be good for those types of builds.
I would love for it to work with grenades and arrow storms. Like, if there was
It's good.
a
I like
build
this.
thematically that works with arrow storms and grenades,
Yeah.
it's not combo points, right? Like, combo points should be your imbuement build, or maybe preparation should be, or preparation should be your ultimate build. And thematically, the
Yeah,
lucky hit
exactly.
chance one should be inner sight because you're spamming so much that you want these effects to go off.
That is true.
Yeah,
And
That's
those
a good point.
thematically don't fit in with combo points, and they don't thematically fit in with preparation.
Yeah. That's a really good suggestion. Also, Boa says, I wonder if Bliss will add core skill or ultimate damage into tempering recipes. We'll see. Yeah,
I think they're
definitely.
data mined, so yes.
I hope this
problem
happens
is-
because right now we definitely need this.
But you know what's weird?
Hmm?
From what I saw, at least it's that. I mean, maybe the data mine is wrong, you know. But ultimate damage and core skill only appears on weapons, where it seems. I mean, I could be mistaken, but it seems that offensive affixes either are present in all tempers, like for all slots like gloves, weapons, rings, amulet, or they're present in all the slots as an affix. For example, crit damage, right?
Yeah.
Damage to close is in all tempers, and crit damage is in all affixes. You know, for those
Yeah.
slots.
Yeah,
So it would be weird that ultimate damage and core skill are only on weapons. So
yeah,
like,
and especially
what's the-
then it would, if that's the case, it would compete with Barrage has more chances to do silly things, or like Elemental Surge. And I think this is already an insanely competitive affix category. Like, there's so many affixes that you actually would want, but you only can take one.
Oh wait, and
Adding
not
another
only
one
that,
to that is not great, I think.
it's also inner sight duration.
It's
on
also
these tempers.
it's also inner sight duration. Okay, wow. Okay, that's okay.
That's
Yeah,
why I was going to recommend the same. I don't like it as a temper. I think it should be a normal affix.
So
Huh?
one thing Ava suggested, which I really like because I feel like it fits thematically with what I feel Inner Sight should be doing, is to have Leyrana scale with attack speed. You know, because Inner Sight is all about spamming shit. You know, why wouldn't I feel like it makes more sense if we're going if Inner Sight is not only the core skill build. Well, it's not even a core skill specialization.
Yeah.
It probably shouldn't scale. Leyrana probably shouldn't scale a core skill. You know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I
it's,
actually
it's a
really
good
like
point,
that
actually.
idea.
Honestly, it's a good point.
Yeah.
And Leyrana exists on the only board we have with attack speed.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it makes so much sense.
Also has flat damage.
Uh,
Like, there's a lot of
yeah.
damage after dodge as well.
Yeah,
And like regular
exactly.
flat
Yeah.
damage too. So yeah, it does make sense thematically. It's a good point.
Yeah, just let combo points be the core skill build. Sure, like
Mhm.
obviously maybe a core skill build a certain one, or maybe you just like playing inner side. Like, sure, there's no point in being restricted, but
Yeah.
at least for design vision, you know,
Yeah,
let
true.
combo points be a core skill build. Like I'm shooting a huge rapid fire, huge barrage, whatever.
Yeah,
Like inner side
I
is
have a little bit of build up, and then I release this super cool big damage shot. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
that's kind of good. Or like I play condemnation, and then I have very little preparation, and then I shoot.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. So is there more that you want to talk about inner side, or because
Kill
I
the
have
kill the internal cooldown.
kill the turn
100%.
cooldown. Yeah, true.
That's got to go.
Yeah.
It should not feel any different to proc, and I don't know how you balance this. It shouldn't feel any different to proc it on a level 100 monster as
Yeah.
it does on a level 200 monster, because
Yeah.
combo points doesn't and preparation doesn't.
So yeah, I was speaking about with Mippy about this before stream. Like there's in general, like in an RPG, your
Mhm.
character should always feel like it gets stronger. And sure, the world around you gets stronger, and maybe like you gotta build up your character before you can kill it, right? But your character should always feel stronger. On the inner side, it's the opposite, right?
Yeah.
So the way is easy. Like you make it scale linearly, right? I mean, I drew a shitty paint image. I guess I could link it in the Discord. Let's see,
Hashtag
general.
buff reign of arrows. Yeah.
I mean, to me, it kind of sounds like, imagine combo points when you're fighting against tempered Grig or whatever takes 12 hits instead of 3. That's what Inner Sight feels like.
That's a flashbang.
Yeah.
So this is what
Yeah,
Sanctum
so-
just sent me. Mind explaining?
Yeah, yeah. So right now it's the black line, right, and the black curve how
Yeah.
it works.
Oh, yeah.
So because it's so at a certain point it just gets impossible to proc. It should
Alright.
just be red, right? Because you're gonna outscale linear scaling. Like characters don't scale linearly; they scale more
Yeah,
than
that's
linear.
true.
So you can't have it flat because I mean you would very quickly get to the point where you like you shoot anything, even an arrow storm, and you proc it, which is probably not what you want. But it should be linear, so it feels like you're procking it faster and faster and faster and faster, but not
Yeah.
insanely fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
So
Uh,
what Boa said is true and not true, because it depends. It's strictly based on direct damage,
Yeah.
which is
Mhm.
another problem.
Like dots don't benefit inner side.
Dots
The inner
don't
side
at
god.
all, and
Okay.
so when you're playing a dot-based build, because your physical is so much lower, you are struggling so much harder against that natural degradation of the inner sight gauge,
Mhm.
where you actually start seeing it ticking down a lot against a 200 boss.
That's hilarious, honestly.
Yeah, it was so good watching. I'm glad I didn't suffer through that.
Yeah. Right. Yep. I think inner side needs a lot of work. Needs a lot of help. And I think if we regard inner side as like this spammy, I want to have lucky hit effects kind of thing, proc, then I think we can expand the I want combo points to be the core skill thing a little bit more. Which is why I think combo points could benefit from either a new aspect or a unique that interacts with it. Obviously, combo points is our strongest spec right now, right? But I think it feels too one-dimensional to play. And I think it would be cool if combo points was had a little bit more variety to it. So I think having a unique or an aspect or something alter combo points in a way that if you use any non-core skill, you get a combo point would be a very interesting playstyle. Like, let's say you just have a lot of targets and you have Ravagers, for example, and you just Shadow Step all of them, and then you stack up combo points with this and while moving, for example, and then when you're ready and move into position with dash, then you shoot without even having to use a base skill. I think that could be something to potentially explore, right? And then potentially increase max combo points, because I think that is a concept that should be explored.
Yeah, I mean, I like it, at least thematically.
Yeah.
So it builds up on the idea of building up like a huge shot.
Yeah.
You know, and I wonder how would it work in practice, right? Because like every 3 shots, because so these skills aren't that good, right? They don't cover that much ground.
No.
I mean, on single target, obviously could still be good, but on AOE, right? Maybe shooting every 5 basic attacks is a bit, as it stands right now, a bit bad. But I mean, I like it as an idea, at least as a possibility.
Yeah, I think it is a concept that is probably worth exploring. How that plays out in reality remains to be seen then, but I think it's important to try to increase the playstyle variety with combo points a little bit. Because
my main
right
problem
now,
with Rogue,
right now, every build that you play with
Same
combo points
shit.
does feel the same. And I think this is not good.
I agree. It's my main problem with Rogue. It all feels the same. Well, maybe not inner sight, but that one just feels bad. But the builds feel mostly the same.
So, and then we have preparation, obviously. I think preparation would be in a good spot if ultimates were actually useful. But currently, we don't have a single useful ultimate. And that's why preparation needs a lot of help to even consider playing an actual ultimate build. And to give preparation a little bit of love, the big thing that I think is necessary for rogues to get to obviously buff and increase the existing ultimates, but also adding a new ultimate, which I have typed out a little bit in the new stuff that I want to add, which I will go over in a second after when we reach the section. But I think for now, preparation could use a reduction in energy requirement to reduce the cooldown, and then the cooldown reduction should be 5 seconds instead of 4 seconds. And what could also be potentially considered, ultimates deal increased damage in general, just a flat increase of ultimate damage when you have preparation equipped.
I mean, I do think prep is, like you said, prep is pretty good. It's just what prep is doing, the skills that prep is for suck, right? Shadow Golem sucks, Roa sucks. Death Trap doesn't suck, but it also sucks, you know?
The funny thing about prep right now is prep is designed to boost ultimate skills. But what we do instead, alright, Bo, I have a good one. What we do instead right now is we use prep to reset the cooldown of all our other skills instead. So the cooldown so the ultimate skill is just a proxy placeholder for our other skills to be better again.
Our ultimate skills are support skills in this game for no reason.
And I think this should not be the case. Like ultimate skills should not feel like support skills.
Dude, I come from playing Druid. Petrify is. I mean, first, like in preseason, Grizzly Rage was insane. Sure, it was only like a buff, but it was insane.
Yeah.
And then Petrify is such an insane fucking skill. Like, it's so good.
Crazy.
And then you go to Rogue, and they're like just all bullshit.
I mean, some suggestions that I would have for the existing ultimates, right? There's something to be done about Death Trap. I think if we embrace Death Trap as the utility ultimate, Death Trap should be imbuable. Like,
Yeah.
A cold imbue death trap, sign me up.
So
Honestly,
one suggestion I had.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. One suggestion I had for Death Trap. I mean, it could put a debuff on the target. Maybe
Yeah.
have it, give you more lucky hit chance against the target. Maybe have it.
Mm.
I don't know. There's many possibilities, but if
Debuffs,
it's the
yeah.
utility one,
Yeah.
you could give it a debuff. Maybe make aspects that give it even more debuffs. I don't know. It's like,
I mean, imbuing it or making it imbuable would actually feed into that debuff theme, right? Because all of our imbues somehow influence the debuff. One is kill the enemy faster, the other one is chill the enemy and freeze the enemy, and the third one is, well, shadow imbuement. But
I mean, if you could imbue Death Trap, for example, that would be pretty interesting for poison twisting blades. Honestly,
yeah, for sure.
It would feed for sure into. It would help its biggest weakness, which probably should also be tuned a bit, but yeah.
Right. So, and then obviously reduce the cooldown of Death Trap a little bit because it's still too high in my opinion, and the arming time is atrocious without Deadly Ambush. So, I think reducing the arming time is slightly a little bit to make it at least usable without. Like it feels bad. You plop it down, and the elites actually walk out of it if you don't have the cooldown reduction, the spring loaded, right?
Yeah. So, it should be baseline a bit lower for sure.
Yeah. Right. Then we have Shadow Clone. I don't want to open the can of worms here. Shadow Clone sucks, is broken, does not work properly. We have to fix Shadow Clone. Right?
Yeah.
Shadow Clone needs to basically be a carbon copy of your character, and everything else is just bad.
You know what's I don't get it, because Shadow Clone has the potential to be the coolest ability in the entire rogue kit.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work.
Yeah, Shadow Clone is only good for proccing Beast Boots, absolutely, or for the Unstoppable, or to reset cooldowns, but for nothing else.
It seems like it suffers from the same thing as additive damage, like lucky hit chance things, where very select things affect it, and that's it.
Yeah. Like, yes, the clone does inherit the player's stats. That is correct. So, technically.
Well, not all of them, because I'm pretty sure it doesn't inherit conditional stats. Like.
Oh yes. Oh, the base. That's why I said base stats.
Okay.
Conditionals are not included. Certain additives are not included. It doesn't inherit aspects, glyphs, legendary nodes. Other than inner calm, obviously, because inner calm.
Passives.
Yeah, it doesn't inherit passives, right? So the thing is, on rogue, most of the damage does not come from our attack power boosted additive pool. It does come from certain multipliers that trigger at certain conditions, and these do not work for clone at all. So that's why it's useless. And as long as clone is not a 100% exact copy, or like 80% exact copy of your character, it will never be useful for dealing damage. So yeah, clone needs help.
Yeah, I mean, also even beyond that, right? Let's say they don't fix Shadow Clone, and instead they make it do like charge, 900% buff, and now it does damage.
It doesn't matter. No, it wouldn't matter.
I mean, sure. Okay, 50,000% buff. It will still be boring, right? If it doesn't proc stuff, right? If it doesn't use Blade Dancer, if it doesn't use Ricochet, if it doesn't use Pierce Ricochet on Umbra, like if it doesn't use any of that, it's like, what's the point? It's just boring, It's just like damage. It's like it could be anything, Just
exactly.
I don't know. There's no point. They gotta fix it.
I agree.
And if it's too strong, okay, just nerf the damage a bit, But have it copy your shit.
Can I tell you my Shadow Clone meme real quick?
Yeah, sure.
So you know how I got those like busted Grasp of Shadows early on?
Yeah, the +6.
The +6. I was like, oh, these are cool. Let me try them out. I have like a little Shadow Clone now. So I was like testing out. I remember I was doing math tests for Ava to see the chance to cast twice thing, right? Because for some reason Arc gave me like the most busted crossbow, and I hit 3 times on it. So
all right.
I was like mathematically at 100%, testing it out, and it's 99%. You know, like as I'm doing this, my Grasp of Shadows shadow clone is coming out, and like I would hit the target, and I swear to God, the thing is just shooting at the air. It like wouldn't even shoot the target.
Yeah, okay. So there's one funny bug with Grasp of Shadows that is absolutely hilarious. If you can theoretically proc the clone from Grasp of Shadows on a target that you killed, a clone will spawn, limiting the amounts, like reaching the cap of clones that can spawn, and it will not do anything until it spawns because the target it's dead. Because it's programmed to actually attack the target it procced on. But if the target is dead, it won't do anything. So that's like the most hilarious thing.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's look. I mean, the devs do this to themselves, right? Because why would you code the item shadow clone differently? Why not just make it create a shadow clone, which you created a fucking skill called shadow clone? I don't know. It's weird. From,
Okay.
the
Here's
scientific-
another
but yeah.
funny thing, right? We have another mechanic that procs a shadow clone. That's called Shadow Slicer. Do you know what the funny thing about Shadow Slicer is? It actually copies all your shit.
Wait, really?
Yes. Shadow Slicer actually inherits most, if not all, of the additive pool. It does inherit very many of the multiplicative damage bonuses. And it's actually a 600%, like at least 600% multiplier for dash if you use it on a two-handed weapon. It's still bad, obviously, but it
So
works with more things than clone does. The technology, it literally copies your imbuements if you use unstable imbuements.
Yeah, I mean, they just gotta fix it, honestly.
Yeah.
It's not acceptable. You can't have this meme ass. Like I was telling Mippy, like the two things I think about when I think of Rogue, it's like clones and stealth. Stealth sucks and clone is broken.
That's true. Like I really like Last Epoch's approach for that problem, right? I think thematically, Rogue and Last Epoch feels really, really good to play.
Yeah.
Like I played, especially in 0.9 when I played Blade Dancer, that stuff was really cool, honestly.
Yeah. Shadow Dagger Blade Dancer feels like a Rogue.
That's really good, yeah. Right.
You mean my bird dropping dive bomb stuff didn't feel like a rogue to you?
Okay, I have to be honest, that was insanely cool, but nothing about this felt like a rogue to me.
Yeah, true. It
not
was like I don't know what it was, like a weird caster, but
yeah. Super cool.
Okay,
Like, was a lot of fun to play this, honestly, but that's not what I think most people think about when they think about rogues. This had a lot of Hunter vibes to me, like from WoW, from Hearthstone, Hunter with a beast companion, you know, that sort of thing, which is also fine, honestly. But it's not like the OG rogue thing, in my opinion.
You dash, leave a clone, it casts a skill. The skill casts explosion. It's like so good. Yeah.
Yeah, it actually worked, man. Working clones in Last Epoch. What is this?
And then on bosses, you summon the 5 clones, and then they all shoot into the middle. Yeah, I don't know. It's great.
That's very satisfying, really honestly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So there's another ultimate skill.
Wait, which one? Oh, right.
Yeah, Rain of Arrows. Honestly, I think if Rain of Arrows had 0 cooldown, we'd still not play it.
I mean, the casting animation was slower. I mean, faster. Yeah, I would play it.
Okay. Has any of you actually equipped Rain of Arrows into the skill bar in PTR and actually cast it?
No.
Okay, I'll tell you something.
I haven't equipped it in a long time, not gonna lie.
I did that, and the amount of time it takes until the first arrow hits the training dummy that's standing right in front of you is the same time it takes me to shoot 7 barrages with max attack speed.
I like, honestly, I'll chill Poe for a second. Like, Poe's Rain of Arrows felt good to me.
Yeah.
It's just a normal skill, but like, it's a targeted area. If your enemy walks out of it, so be it. But like, why do we need this drizzling cloud that just moves forward. Just concentrate it in one area,
Yeah.
like Death Trap,
Like Aerostorm,
like Arrowstorm.
Yeah,
That would
like
be
Aerostorm,
cooler.
but bigger.
just bigger.
But bigger. Yeah.
And have
Literally
it last like
Aerostorm, but
5
bigger.
seconds there, not 2 waves.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
like the knockdown is absolutely useless. We have chance to freeze, chance to daze, chance to whatever everywhere. Like I swear to God, the casting animation is so bad. You could probably take a sip of your drink while you cast this until the arrows hit, and you can move again.
Still faster than you proc and recite though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, it's ridiculous how poorly tuned Rain of Arrows is, and they even buffed it in the last patch, and they were like, yeah, let's buff it by 10% faster casting. I was like, they could have literally written it casts instantly, right? And then maybe we would consider it. Maybe. But as I said, right now, even at 0 cooldown, I would never play it.
But charge gets 1000%, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
do you know what we will probably get in the next patch? Invigorating Strike now gets its vulnerable buff at 90% below energy and not 85.
Yeah.
That's probably what we're gonna get.
Which you can't still use with combo points, right?
Yeah, true.
Even if they made it 99%, it still wouldn't work.
Yep, that's also my problem with Rain of Arrows in a game where you want to keep moving. It's the only skill where you have to plan defeat. I swear to God, that Rogue can't attack while casting is the biggest mistake in design ever. It feels
true.
so awkward to have to stand still to shoot with your bow. It doesn't make any sense, honestly. Like a lot of skills on the Rogue should be able to be used while moving. And I actually have a important suggestion for how to fix this problem with Rogues. And I think Momentum should give you the ability to attack and cast while moving.
I like that. I didn't think about that, but yeah.
That would be cool.
And then
Or
you
if,
gain,
like,
and then
if Rain of Arrows was channeling instead, like I know it would be weird to have like a channeling ability on Rogue. That would maybe be kind of cool if it did enough damage to make up for it.
yeah, sure.
I hate channels, but yeah.
Could be used on bosses if it's channeled, you know.
If you can channel and move, sure.
Oh yeah, if you can channel and move, insane, yeah. But honestly, I think momentum is a thing that needs help. The 20% damage reduction is nice, but with how good our damaging key passives are, you would never pick momentum. It makes absolutely no sense to pick it.
I have a question for you too, because this was something I ran into when I played like Poison, Inner Sight, Barrage. I'm like, okay, I don't need precision, right? How do you proc momentum with a ranged build?
You don't.
Because it wasn't that consistent. So it's just for TB and Flurry?
Well, unless you play Manglers, because I think you gain a stack when you daze.
Uh-huh.
So
think it's like
concussive for
daze or
Manglers is a way to do it, or like chance to daze on the Tempers. But that feels bad.
Does that count? Does that count the new like chance procs, like Lucky Hit?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I tried it a little bit. What's actually interesting is momentum is actually one of the very, very few descriptions where I actually found the wording if you hit an enemy from behind. And that triggered something in me that I actually went and designed like new rogue things that actually utilize this, because I think this is like super cool. Why do we not have this? I'll get to that in a little bit with like the suggestions things. But I think momentum could literally be redesigned to allow it to attack while cast and moving, allow to attack and cast while moving, give you damage reduction while moving to fit the theme, and then you gain increased damage per point of uncapped movement speed. All of the key passives do somehow increase your damage now. Close Quarters Combat does, scales with damage to crowd controlled. Precision does, scales with crit damage. Exposure Victimize does, scales with vulnerable damage and deals AoE. Exposure needs help too, to be honest. Exposure does need help. But I think momentum has so much potential to be an actually good and useful key passive. Yeah, we're freaking rogues. Give us backstack mechanics. Exactly. You will like my suggestions if I show you them.
Wait, what if you made momentum skill, like playing into it, you made it, give you more damage if you hit like a scale. The scaling part gave you more damage if you're hitting from behind, right?
That could also work, honestly. But
Obviously, it would be worse,
think,
but
no, yeah, but I think this theme is better included in other parts of the build, which is
sure.
which is why I think we can get to that now.
I have one
Yeah,
question
it's
real
pretty
quick
interesting,
though.
actually.
I don't know if anyone tested this.
Yeah.
Would that RF lob ring, would that count as hitting an enemy from behind if you targeted right?
Oh, maybe.
Because that's how TB worked.
Yeah, technically.
Yeah.
Could
I
work.
wonder if anyone tested it, because that would be
No, I
kind of
didn't.
cool.
I didn't. But yeah, it would be cool. So
Oh, it didn't work?
I don't know. I haven't tested it.
Okay.
Momentum just doesn't work when you daze, right? You have to hit with a cutthroat skill. Oh, that's true. You actually have to hit with a cutthroat skill and momentum.
I mean, this
Anyway.
would probably make it a bit less restrictive.
Yeah, that should be less restrictive. Anyway, so the thing is, I was like, should I actually suggest an actually full kit redesign, basically? Should I suggest this? And then I was thinking about, let's think about the class fantasy for Rogue a little bit. Rogue should be a high risk, high reward type of class, where rogues in general are like perceived as a devious but lethal and agile combatant who uses like cunning, mobility, and dodging to overcome the enemies, right? But right now, we lack outstanding defenses compared to other classes, and we should instead be more rewarded with high damage output if we utilize our class's kit to its full potential. So I thought, okay, maybe I can craft something that synergizes well with what we have already, but tries to build upon a new theme that is more assassin focused, like a rogue that is very mobile, deals high single target damage, and has utility with stealth and potentially Shadow Imbuement. Because I think Shadow Imbuement is the most underutilized imbuement right now. Yes, it's good for leveling, obviously, because it deals a lot of damage in the early game, but there's no way to really scale it into the end game, and you would never really play it in end game. So yeah, Glass Can passive on Sorg never made sense. Yeah, this should be a rogue passive for sure. So what I thought about first is, okay, if we make this new assassin theme, we need something to go with it. And this is why I thought about a new ultimate skill and a new specialization that could be used. So let's start with the ultimate skill. I would simply call it Assassination, which is a cutthroat skill, a melee cutthroat skill that is imbuable. It requires you to be stealth to be used and has a 25-second cooldown. It basically deals a massive amount of damage to a single enemy. The first upgrade would be deal more damage when you use it from behind the enemy. And then the second upgrade, if the enemy's healthy, you decrease the damage by another whatever percent. I think such an ultimate would thematically be really good and would fit the theme of Rogue being like a high damage single target class very, very well. I think this is definitely lacking in Rogue right now.
Yeah, for sure.
So
yeah, I like the idea.
Yeah, and basically to go with that, we need better ways to access stealth, and we need cutthroat skills to have more utility in that sense. So for example, if we use a new specialization, if we want to not just use preparation with such an ultimate just to keep spamming it, which would also be interesting, but maybe a little bit boring, we could play around with the shadow mechanic a little bit more. So I think something like you automatically enter stealth after casting mobility skill could be something. Then you gain damage reduction for 5 seconds after entering stealth. This is debatable, could also remove that. But now, the most important thing is breaking stealth increases your next, let's say, 5 or 10 cutthroat skills damage by a certain amount of percentage, multiplicatively. I think something like this would be really fitting for an assassin type rogue who dashes in and out with stealth and utilizes mobility to keep on the move. And this is like, I think there's a lot of potential for something like this. If you have, like, it was always weird to me that there was no real benefit for stealth in D4 with Rogue. Right now, stealth is basically only a way to move faster. You press concealment, you gain movement speed, that's basically it. And it's like unstoppable. But much more
Stop
is...
chasing you.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be a lot cooler if it was easier to proc stealth and it would gain more benefits. Then you could also like rework concealment a little bit. if we don't do the ultimate thing, the specialization thing, we could also get like a simple fix to counter and conceal it, which is currently your next hit is a guaranteed critical strike. It could be after breaking stealth, you gain increased damage for a certain amount of seconds. I think this is very simple and does fit Rogue in general really, really well. And I'm very surprised that this is not an actual theme for Rogue already. And yeah, to build upon this assassin theme, I think there are a lot of concepts that have been present in rogues and other ARPGs that we do not see utilized in D4 at all. For example, a passive like Single Out, right? Where if there's no other enemy within a certain range of the target, you will deal increased damage to it. This is like the most basic kind of rogue thing I could think about, which is just lacking from the class. It could be something that is included in the core section as a passive, right?
Yeah. So when you were describing it, I was like picturing in my mind the playstyle, like you go stealth, you reposition, you shoot like I don't know 3 shots, and then you move, you stealth, you move away. Yeah, I feel like it feels like a rogue, essentially.
Yeah, and then could have some other basic passive. Like I think this is very interesting to make Rogue a DPS class that is very good at finishing off enemies, right? Something like if you haven't scored a critical hit against an injured enemy on your last attack with a core skill, the next attack is a guaranteed critical strike and it gains increased critical strike damage. Obviously with a cooldown, because chain proccing this would be super OP. But this is something to build upon the fact that Rogue is designed to kill things, to move quick and to kill things quick and to finish off the fights. Something that also plays into that would be something to include in the agility section. I called it Unseen Menace because I think it fits the theme. If you attack an enemy from behind with a cutthroat skill, it is a guaranteed critical strike that needs increased damage. This would reward positioning so much that I think it's sad that positioning and movement is so underutilized in Rogue. We literally play Inner Calm on a Rogue. It's crazy. We actually stand still for 3 seconds to increase our damage in most of the fights that we engage into right now. I think this is something that should never be part of a Rogue's main kit.
Yeah, it's what we were discussing before the stream. It's like, sure, right now, I mean, you could go 2 ways, right? If you just want to make Rogue the generic ass ARPG melee class, which is a skinny barb, yeah, you make it tankier, make it do more damage. Blah, blah, blah. But it's not how... I'm pretty sure it's not what they envisioned with Rogue. It's just that they didn't take it far enough, right? They envisioned a much slower game where you would even want to call trips backwards, stuff like that. Which is not... What you actually want is tools to move forwards in a way that also evades enemies, And stealth is perfect for that. But yeah, I mean, they just gotta...
Yeah, I absolutely agree, honestly. And I think to build upon that theme, I thought about another passive, like I would call it Mercy's Kiss. I think Execute is a cool mechanic that is vastly underutilized because of how little usefulness it presents right now, because it is limited to executing non-elites. What if Rogue gained a passive, a low lucky hit chance to instantly execute injured non-boss enemies? I think this would fit the theme, honestly.
Yeah.
I was like looking at my spec tree the other day and I was like, oh, this looks really cool. Look at this. There's like an execute on the no witnesses board, and then I read the part where it's non-elite and I'm like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Why?
Like, it's like, it doesn't make much sense, honestly. But I think something like this in the subterfuge section would make sense. It does fit the theme. And then I had a really interesting idea. I think it's like one of the most conceptual ideas. Having Warm of the Shadows. It's a passive in the imbuement section with 3 mutually exclusive choices. You basically gain a charge of the imbuement of your choice whenever you enter stealth. I think this is super straightforward, but it could be so cool to utilize this.
I feel in general imbuements are a badly designed skill. Like they can be cool, but as a skill you just press,
Mm.
it feels kind of stupid. So
I
I
feel
feel like
that
it
way
should
about
be
every rogue
working.
skill, except for
Yeah,
core abilities. Like
yeah,
nothing does anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
like
yeah.
I guess this. I don't know if this is like a point of frustration with it, but I've only played rogue, and the only thing that feels like it does
Mm-hmm.
anything is a core skill. Why does Shadow Step do 1,000 damage? Why am I bothering with this? Why does Dash?
Yeah,
Okay, Dash
exactly.
can do very little damage.
Like,
Why does Caltrops do tickle
yeah,
damage?
this
There's
is
no
exactly what
ability
I
on
feel.
rogue that does anything.
Yeah. And I think this is important to. This is why I tried to design something that does help more than just core skills. And I think most cutthroat skills are very easy to utilize for this because they fit the theme of this rogue that is in your face and just tries to murder you. You know.
Yeah.
Like Twisting Blades, back when we used to play Twisting Blades, like it sounds cool, it looks cool, and
Yeah.
then it just it doesn't
Yeah.
do
The
enough anymore.
I agree. And the point with imbuements right now, yeah, why would I cast imbuements if only useful chords? The thing is, if you imbue, you imbuement is in a way limited because it has cooldown, right? So that means you want to activate it basically the instant it is ready. But you also have to use dash and shadow step to move. And if you imbue before you dash or shadow step, you will waste your imbuement. So you either cast, like, have it ready on your skill bar, wasting precious cooldown seconds, or you don't use dash and shadow step and then you wasted time moving. So it just feels bad to use imbuements because you always feel like you make the wrong choice when you press them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
even like I played with somebody on PTR. It was a barb, and I was like, whoa, his other buttons actually do something, like
Yeah.
not just his main attack, but he jumps in
Yeah.
and the monster loses 20% of their health. How come Shadow Step does like less than 1%?
Yeah. I mean, there are ways to actually scale Shadow Step. I tried to make a Shadow Step build work on PTR. I have to say, it was better than Flurry.
So sad.
But that's about it.
I guess the problem, another problem is on, let's say, gloves.
Yeah.
Gloves, you are always going to put core damage there, or like,
Mhm.
let's say, plus whatever points to barrage or flurry or
Okay.
TB.
One thing to that.
Hmm.
Let's say you play Shadow Step build. Shadow Step has an absurdly high lucky hit chance. It is literally absurd. It has 100% base lucky hit chance, and you can increase it to a massive amount. You could run gloves with lucky hit chance, crit, and dex if you run a if you run such a build. And what I actually did was I used Surge and used Shadow Step to proc Surge. So
See.
while Shadow Step itself dealt like decent damage, I went for, okay, how can I reduce Shadow Step's cooldown to the minimal amount possible? I took Shadow Step cooldown reduction or agility cooldown reduction wherever possible, rolled cooldown wherever I can, got Ravages, and just, use Shadow Step as like a Shunpo to jump between the
like
targets to proc.
like flicker strike on info.
Yeah. But do you know
Does it
what the
feel-
problem is? If Shadow Step procs Surge and Surge kills the enemy, you do not get a cooldown refresh. So, yeah, it's bad. So you actually have to increase Shadow Step's damage as well to it actually land the killing blow or something. So it's so anti-synergistic, and I hate it. I wish it was better.
Do you think from a balance perspective, though, it feels bad that your core ability gets such an easy access to, let's say at this point, 40 to 100% due to extra skills in it, and none of your
Oh.
other skills really get that?
Wait. You can get plus Shadow Step on boots. I've run that.
Oh, it is on boots. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Never
But
mind.
the problem is it's on boots.
Yeah.
Like,
imagine, I mean, rogue, if so I mean, look, teleport exists, so no one can tell me this is unbalanced, right? If the rogue meta for Gauntlet of shadow stepping actually killing stuff, shadow step actually kills stuff and it resets,
Mhm.
and you just keep moving. If that actually worked in the real game,
yeah.
it would be
Okay.
so cool, so rogue like. But
I
it just
tried
doesn't
to
work.
make this happen. I honestly tried to make this happen. It does work to kill small mobs with it, but you have so much cooldown reduction because you run Shaco and Evernight that just having the upgrade for Shadow Step, Methodical Shadow Step, that you get 4 seconds cooldown reduction when you hit a new enemy, was enough to perma reset it with Ravages. It basically didn't matter how much damage it dealt because artillery killed everything. So, but it was obviously not enough to kill boss to kill elites, yeah, or to tickle bosses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I do have suggestions for Shadow Step and for Dash in the rework section. So for a new thing that I thought about, with utilizing the stealth mechanic a little bit further and playing into Shadow Imbuement, what if we have a passive in the ultimate section, breaking stealth with a Shadow Imbued Cutthroat skill, releases Shadow Explosion based on the damage dealt and applies imbuement to all affected targets. Basically like a mini Victimize, but for Shadow Imbuement.
Yeah. Yeah, like that.
I would like to see more stuff like this where it feels like the current specializations are so broad so that everything can use it, and because everything can use it, nobody
Yeah.
uses it. Where if you can get more targeted with things like we were talking about, imbuments for combo points, maybe this added damage for inner sight.
Yeah.
Having things more geared towards that rather than everything would probably feel better and give builds more direction.
I agree.
I like
And-
stuff like this.
Yeah, and I thought about this with the new assassination skill that I thought about in mind, because a Shadow Imbued Cutthroat skill, well, this is a Cutthroat skill that you can imbue, so you could have the possibility to deal your damage in a small AoE. Like you could use Assassinate to blow up a pack, basically. I don't even think that's overpowered, honestly. Because
No, it's not.
yeah, because that's just, yeah, you know, you could use momentum, right, and then have this mini Victimize kill packs for you.
Plus, keep in mind, this direction for Rogue, the playstyle is very intentional, right? In that way, that keeps it balanced in a way, because it's not like, okay, I'm a Sork, I'm pressing Frozen Orb, it hits the whole screen because I'm
And everything's dead.
putting out a million and everything's dead. There's nothing intentional about that. You just holding right click or whatever.
Yeah, you just hold right click in the general direction you're moving.
Exactly. This is intentional, so it can be strong, right? Because sure, I mean, you don't want it to be barb level strong, but
yeah, I'm not talking about a Shadow
what I mean.
Explosion that is the whole screen, but just like a little bit bigger than TB size, right?
At the end of the day, if Rogue is to be the skill cut class, there has to be some payoff. It's just how it is, you know.
Yeah.
I want to like just say I know my build thematically wasn't a rogue in last epoch, but it felt meaningful to have a build where I had a mobility skill.
Oh yeah.
My mobility skill debuffed the enemies, and it buffed my dive bomb ability, right? But like that was just good for general clearing. But when I needed it, I could use my, I forget what it's called, like the shadow clone thing. So it'd make 5 shadow clones.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Shadow strikes, and I would drop a smoke grenade, and now all of a sudden, like I use these 2 cooldowns, and I get 10 dive bombs on the enemy, and it just blows up. And it felt really rewarding to have this build that was highly mobile, and I could do things here and there. But when I needed it, I could call upon these cooldowns and really make something happen, which doesn't feel like you have in this game.
Yeah, it's what I said in the chat.
Yeah.
Rogue skills just feel disjointed. It's like you're just casting skills, right? They don't interact with each other. I mean, sure, imbuments, but you're just pressing it and it's like a buff, a shitty buff. And
even like caltrops, like I hate using caltrops, but it's like you have to use it if you want the damage.
Yeah, it's so strong, right?
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
Yeah.
Right? Like in AOZ, you would aim it so that your back is against the wall and you don't move. Like that's how bad it felt to use.
Do you know what the problem of caltrops in PTR now is? You cannot do this anymore. If you aim yourself against the wall, you could just get lobbed to the side.
Great.
I have died against Ubergrig because of that.
Great.
So,
I don't even know what caltrops does. Like, I don't know when it works, when it doesn't work. I know I'm just like spitballing here, but like the whole ability just feels so garbage.
Yeah. The usability of this ability feels very poor.
Don't
Yeah,
rogues drop caltrops behind them as they're running away? Why would it jump me backwards back into the enemies if I'm running away?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I do agree, and I think Rogue do also need a little bit of help on the Paragon board in terms of good stuff. Like you could design like a new Paragon board that basically benefits stealth and all the stealth bonuses. I think there's like nothing in the Paragon board that utilizes stealth or anything at all. So maybe some new board where you have a legendary node, like that's called Piercing the Veil or something, is you gain damage or attack speed for a certain amount of time for every enemy you pass through while stealthed. And that has a max cap of like 50% or something. Or 25% to be more in line with like other legendary nodes. And then you also gain 1 stack of this buff when you hit a shadow imbued enemy. I think something like this would be super thematic for Rogue and would work super well with stuff like Volatile Shadows. And obviously like Night Stalker and stuff. So
yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I loved Night Stalker last season.
Yeah.
That was that like I was running the resistant
You mean this season?
Night Stalker. Oh yeah, sorry.
It's not over yet, even though we want to believe that.
I know it's been like 3 games since then. Night Stalker with Resistant Assailant was actually like an awesome that I could say that went together. It felt cool. You kill a boss or an elite, you pop into conceal, your shadow imbuement comes back. That I would actually say was awesome in this season, and I would like to see more rogue stuff like that where something affects something else but in a positive way.
Yeah.
And it felt really good to use conceal and shadow imbue.
Yeah, like the synergies were really good.
The synergy was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah, and I think to build upon something like this, I also thought about a new glyph. I obviously basically all of the Paragon nodes and glyphs that have additive components need to be buffed by how big our additive pool is at this point. Now with the itemization rework. But yeah, a new glyph called like culling. For every 5 dexterity, you gain increased damage against healthy enemies. I initially had injured enemies there, but then I thought about like, how useful is that really? So I thought like, yeah, healthy enemies might be a lot better. And less conditional. And then you have like a dexterity bonus of 25 and you reach that. You also gain this bonus against enemies affected by your shadow imbuement and deal an additional 15% multiplicative damage to them. In line with other glyphs, and does have a nice special effect that makes shadow imbuement not a useless leveling skill, pretty much.
Yeah.
So is that, I mean, obviously this stuff, I really try hard to not make this stuff overpowered or something, because I think, like, I just want things that thematically promote synergies in Rogue, and I think we lack these kind of things so much in Rogue that it's more about like trying to find something that gives you more agency while playing the class, and then rewards you with a cool buff, a cool damage bonus, or something that makes you just deal more damage or be tankier or do something, basically.
Yeah, I agree. For sure.
Right, but
my feedback was a bit less ambitious, but I mean, if this was the direction for Rogue, I would love it.
Yeah. I mean, this is what I basically want to get across. Like, I hope this gets seen, and maybe we'll see something like this in the future. Because I think a rogue that goes into this direction would be so much more fun to play. And, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, right now, rogue is literally a shitty barb. You're playing the same way as a barb, just bad.
True. Right, so, but I guess we can get into okay, how about the stuff that we have? How can we have the bad stuff that we have less bad, right?
Yeah.
So let's go into reworking existing passive skills and whatever. Obviously we have basic skills.
Dude, increase the fucking blade shift range, please. God.
Yeah, like puncture is very good, and I think all other basic skills should be as good as puncture, and not puncture to be nerfed, because basic skills obviously don't deal damage, but they should provide some sort of utility, right?
Yeah.
And I think for Blade Shift also already has this feature where it can move freely through enemies. So I think increasing the attack speed, range, and AoE would be a good thing. And then if you hit targets from behind, they become vulnerable for 6 seconds. Very simple, something that you could use if you want a cutthroat basic skill. For example, if you're playing like a combo points build with a marksman core, you know.
I think the problem with that, the only problem I would say is, I think that fits into your vision of Rogue with the reworks and stuff. But with the current way that Rogue plays, vulnerable from behind, I don't know how much it would matter, you know?
I know.
Which is sad. It's sad because I like it, but yeah.
Okay, what if you use those pain gorgers and the copies that get spawned by pain gorgers do count as from behind?
Wait, but does Pain Gorger do damage now?
No. Did you test it on PTR again? I did test it. It was horrible.
No, I didn't get it. I assume it's still flat damage.
Maybe Ark tested it more thoroughly though. I would have to ask him.
Yeah, maybe.
Right, and then we have the mandatory Invigorating Strike meme. I think Invigorating Strike can be a cool skill if it actually gave you lifesteal. Or like, you know, not only some weird ass energy buff. Yeah. Like, actually imagine Invigorating Strike really giving you lifesteal. Would that be something that we use? Like, not that Invigorating Strike itself lifesteals, but it gives you a buff for a certain amount of time that you have lifesteal.
I mean, I think that would be good. I mean, look, Undying is really good, so we know lifesteal is good.
And then obviously...
I would like to put in my one thing that I ran into on PTR with basics is that puncture is good for so many different reasons. Yeah. One, for combo points, you have 3 chances to crit. For energy gain for inner sight, you have 3 chances to proc a lucky hit.
Yeah.
And I was running Heartseeker for a while, and oh my god, like
the energy economy is horrible.
Night and day on how much energy you get.
You only realize how good puncture is once you stop using it.
Right. Yeah. And so I think that what you have here is too light. And those
like that's crazy if you consider lifesteal for your entire character for like a multitude of seconds.
No.
This is literally Daryl's right here.
I still think it's like not enough. Yeah. And it still wouldn't get played.
That's crazy.
Like, the buffs to basics have to be there. I you know what? I have one more question. Well, because we keep bringing up like Barb and stuff. Do other classes only put 1 point in everything other than core? Like I know we like max out core and we put 1 in everything else, except maybe Dark Shroud. Is it the same way over there? Or imbuments, right?
No. They max. Some skills they max. For example,
like shouts do get maxed, I think. Sometimes.
Yeah, shouts get maxed. Teleport gets maxed. I don't know about the other skills, but I assume they also get maxed.
Kind of sad that we tend to keep things at 1.
Well, yeah, I mean our skills suck.
There's like no point in leveling them, honestly. Sometimes.
Yeah.
But like, I know you said like lifesteal here, and okay, maybe I was underhanded with that one, but like I don't see anything here for like Heartseeker. I don't even know what the other one is.
Forceful Arrow.
Arrow.
Honestly,
right?
These two are so bad that I don't even want to mess with them. I don't even know how to fix them. That's how bad they are.
It needs to be so overhauled that like using a basic ability can't just be for combo points.
Yeah.
And it can't just be for.
That's
I don't know. Like you never want to use a basic skill, right? So something's fundamentally wrong there.
Yeah, that's why I thought like, okay, if your character actually gets lifesteal for a certain amount of time after using the basic skill, that would be fucking insane. But apparently.
So the only scenario I know of, I mean, ignoring like basic skill builds.
Yeah, one second. Nintendo says Sorks normally put heavy investment into defensive skills after everything else covered to lower cooldown. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, go on, please.
The only scenario I know of someone using a basic skill, that is not like a basic skill build like Stormclaw, is I know for what was it, for AOC, the shred build would take Maul, because Maul well, first you proc might, and then Maul would also give DR, because you had a passive where when you shift to a bear you get DR. So it was like a neat little utility to give a lot of DR, like a lot of defense. That's pretty much the only case I can think of someone using like a basic skill for utility purpose. We only use them because A, we don't have enough energy, or B, combo points. But I don't think anyone uses basic
that's
skills.
true. Yeah, but Wipe says basic aspects are very overtuned in Blizzard desperate attempt to make them interesting. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they just gotta make these skills a bit cooler.
Yeah, like
Wait, there
I
are
think
basic
basic
skills in this
skills.
game.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, please.
There are basic aspects in this game. Are we talking about aspect or skills? Like the only
He
basic
said
aspect I can
aspects.
think of is
The person
Yeah,
said
there's
aspects.
Moonrise. There's
testicle points. Oh, like those
Yeah,
yeah,
Moonrise
there's another
might.
one.
I mean, might.
might.
Yeah.
There's
Fair.
there's one that gives like 80% damage.
Hectic.
To,
Yeah.
yeah.
Adaptability.
Adaptability.
Yeah.
They're all pretty fucking strong.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Okay, so but
True.
the thing is, basic skills in order to actually be used do need to provide some sort of benefit that outweighs just simply not casting another core skill instead.
Well, you have to have massive utility. That's it, pretty much.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I would
Yeah,
like
okay.
if each one had some sort of positive utility and be more heavy-handed with it. Like maybe Invigorating Strike should really give more energy regen. I think that's the one with energy regen.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't know what you. I don't think you have to do anything for puncture because like puncture really is the
No,
gold standard.
puncture is in a good state. I want
But,
all
like,
basic
Heartseeker
skills to be this
sucked.
good.
Yeah.
I mean, they buffed
Wait,
Heartseeker's attack speed by basically 50% if you consider the frame duration reduction, right? And it's still bad. It is legit still bad.
Yeah. Imagine, I mean, with the stealth build you ambition, like, I don't know, a basic skill that says, when you use this basic skill, after, I don't know, after 1 second, your next cutthroat skill, or your next skill does, I don't know, X, I'm gonna exaggerate, 1,000,000% damage, shit like that. I mean,
Yeah.
you just have to make it intentional. Like, right, pressing a basic skill is like, I pressed this shit because I wanted to do this shit. It's not like I just pressed something because I had nothing else to do. That just feels bad, you know? It has to be intentional.
That's true. A stacking
other thing I
RCR
really
buff to Invigorating Strike, like basically like Starless without the damage. Yeah, would be kind of cool.
The other thing I hate about basics though is that we're like lumped into this weird cutthroat versus marksman thing, which prioritizes closer versus ranger. And when I was playing, like Core Barrage, it felt bad taking puncture over Heartseeker because I lose 10% DR now.
Oh yeah, I mean,
And I don't think it's fair.
Yeah, I get feedback on that. They gotta fix the glyphs and make them a buff. Like when you use a cutthroat skill or whatever, you get a like 5-second DR buff instead of whatever the fuck they have now.
It just turns off. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it should be a buff. Be right back in 1 second.
Yeah, sure. CDR? Oh my god. I mean, to be very honest, I think once the basic skill gives actual CDR on hit, this is where we start considering puncture to not use it. Like, to not use puncture.
Yeah, that might be too much.
That might, I think if one basic skill provides CDR in its base kit, you would probably always use it.
It would like cut into preparation space though, on a basic.
Yeah. Like CDR is super tricky, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly,
CDR is
but honestly, okay,
in the game.
like if we actually have to dabble into one of the most difficult to balance stats to think about dropping puncture, that is problematic in itself. Like, this shows how severely undertuned all of the other base skills are. Right.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah, sure. Right. So I think I like the suggestion of Blade Shift giving your next cutthroat skill increased damage and Invigorating Strike giving you a stacking RCR buff. I think stuff like this is very good, honestly. Maybe we would then consider it, but I don't know. Do you guys have anything to add to core skills, to basic skills?
I said my piece. I think
Nah, fuck them.
Yeah, right.
it's just another button right now that serves
Yeah.
to be a button in between the button you actually
Maybe
want
in
to
the
press.
future when there's interesting stuff.
Yeah.
There's
Will
nothing
be
interesting, yeah.
yeah, not right now.
All right, let's get into core skills. Pen shot. Pen shot needs love, for sure.
Yeah,
And I
single
think
target.
it's very easy to fix pen shot if you add an aspect or an unique, or like Eaglehorn Bow is like the pen shot unique, right? Just change Eaglehorn Bow to read if penetrating shot hits less than Y targets, it deals X% more damage.
Yeah,
That's like
that works.
the easiest fix that I can imagine for pen shot to be actually good.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
There's probably cooler fixes, but that one does the trick.
I mean, you could make pen shot a seeking missile that pierces a target multiple times, for example.
Yeah, that would be the cooler fix.
Like, you shoot pen shot, it pierces one target, and it flies through, and then it comes back and pierces the target again or something. You know?
So, yeah, initially, I think like 2 seasons ago or 3, no, 2. Yeah, I thought, why not just fix pen shot, making the projectiles that split off, like seek enemies after, I don't know.
Sounds like D2 guided arrow. Okay, I have to admit, I haven't played much D2, so I was not aware that this is an ability there. But interesting that this exists.
Yeah.
Because I was not the first person to suggest this, and now it makes a lot of sense why the person I heard it from did suggest this.
Yeah.
Right.
It's either the easy way or something like that, heat seeking.
Yeah.
Arrows.
All right. I think rapid fire is unironically in a good spot if the ring gets tweaked to that it just shoots the grenade where you point at instead of making this long ass puke. You know. Yeah.
Yeah, rapid fire is fine. It does. Yeah, it's fine.
Rapid fire. I think rapid fire is in a fine spot right now. Honestly, like unironically. Then we have twisting blades. I honestly think barrage is also in a good spot now with the new aspect.
I have a few comments on that.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. I like the new aspect because they tied an ability that helps you clear with something that still helps you on single target, being the attack speed. It's kind of like a little bit less of accelerating while having some additional functionality that we've all been asking for with Pierce. And not only that, but you can pierce and ricochet on the same hit. So this was interesting. You can go from a 5-arrow barrage that will split off to 2 targets and pierce a target. So now you're at plus 15. Those pierced hits can also branch off again to give you another plus 10 hits. That's very, very, very strong for AoE clear. It felt really good in my opinion. Branching volleys, on the other hand, does nothing for bosses, which is okay to have like one aspect there. I think it still needs to be addressed that the arrows start shooting out from your sides with more arrows. That doesn't feel good.
Yeah,
Also,
the cunning legendary node, yeah, for sure.
The spread should probably be a little tighter, I feel.
Yeah.
Like, it could be a little tighter, let's be honest.
Okay, let me
Why
add
does
that,
that be so
honestly.
wide?
Aside from that, I was pretty happy, but it did feel like you have to use 2 aspects to get your AoE to be reasonable on a skill that has worse single target than rapid fire or barrage. Pen shot. I also think the energy cost of barrage is too low. Too high. Sorry. It costs more than rapid fire.
Confused there.
It's
Uh,
weird because Barrage is clearly the one you're meant to spam out of the core skills, the ranged core skills. Yet it's the one that costs the most, right? Which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, 30. Oh well, pen shot is a bit more expensive, but it's the
Right.
slower one, slowest one, right?
And Barrage, I think, also has 16% lucky hit instead of Rapid Fire's 20.
mm,
I don't really know why. I mean, I could say prior to this would have been a sentiment before branching volleys got buffed and before this Pierce thing came in, but Rapid Fire just did everything that Barrage wanted to do, but better. And Rapid Fire is already better at single target. I don't see why Barrage has to cost more mana, energy, and have a lower lucky hit chance than Rapid Fire.
yeah. Yes, I mean that's kind of
And
weird, honestly.
so I'm gonna jump in one more thing there. Sanctum was having me try an Inner Sight Poison Imbue build, and so I had 8 or 9, whatever it is, the poison thing with BV, and trying to get this whole thing going. I still couldn't get Bursting Venoms to proc on a boss. It would be like one of every 3 poison imbue casts with 8 or 9 charges
That's
and
crazy.
45% lucky hit chance on gear. And I forget what it's called, like Alchemist something at the bottom of the tree that gives 15% lucky hit. I couldn't proc BV.
Should have shadow stepped, lol.
Yeah, right?
True.
No, honestly, that's messed up. I think that is probably also something that should be addressed. Like,
And if Barrage does become the lucky hit build, it like for arrow storms and grenade, or well maybe flurry would be for grenade. I feel like that would just be better.
yeah. Did I mess up anything? Okay. Yeah. Like Penshot has lucky hit chance in a pretty high range, so yeah. But I agree, Nintendo. Like, rapid fire should just the rapid fire ring should just place the arrows where you aim it instead of like doing this puke thing. Yeah. Rogue set lucky hit node on the imbuement cluster and make any lucky hit have a chance to apply all imbuements on your bar for the attack. That's crazy. Yeah, that would be pretty good.
I also sorry.
Hey, that's like Icy Alchemist.
Yeah, it's like IK Rasmus, yeah. Well,
That
it's
was
like
the most fun part
Yeah.
about most fun building Rogue.
also
honestly.
what was it called? Apothecary. What's it
Yeah,
called?
that one. Oh, sorry, that one. Yeah, the Apothecary Icy Alchemist build. That one was the best,
Yeah.
honestly.
I don't like the fact that there's like one lucky hit thing at the bottom of the tree above
Vile Apothecary, yes, thank you.
Yeah, that one was so good.
which is tied to like how much energy you spend, and so you can't use that on Inner Sight also.
Yeah. Yeah, I think lucky hit chance should be a little bit more accessible on Rogue as well.
Definitely.
I'll add that. It's the ultimate part, I think.
You can tell maybe he doesn't play Flurry because he doesn't even mention Flurry.
Fuck Flurry, man. I like Flurry. Just it's okay. To
There's
Flurry.
an easy fix. There's an easy fix.
Delete Flurry, yeah.
No, easiest fix ever.
Which
Flurry
one?
hits cause the enemy to take 1% more damage.
Oh yeah.
And
Stack
let's
Flurry.
say
Yeah,
you
that's
make it,
fine.
yeah, stack Flurry, and you make it last really short. So if you ever like, let's say, move away from the boss because you're dodging or whatever, you lose all your stacks. But
Like a
if you stay
3-second timer or something, that would be actually good.
yeah,
honestly.
2 seconds, whatever, and then yeah. I feel like that would be pretty good.
What is the passive called? I know it's Alchemist Fortune for the non-physical one for lucky hit, but what's the other lucky hit one called?
The one I never use.
I'll find it.
Second win.
Second win.
That's the one.
Feedback. Second win sucks.
Flat lucky hit buff.
Yeah, like you can't use it with combo points. You can't use it with Inner Sight, so you can only use it with prep.
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty bad.
Cool.
It should just be a flat chance, honestly.
Yeah. I don't mind the other one having an additional chance for imbuements, because that's cool. Like with non-physical on the other one.
That's kind of cool.
Keep it as is. It's cool.
It should just be flat, honestly. It's probably even too timid with the buff here, but yeah. So yeah, you said flurry.
Yeah, 1% stacking
Flurry.
buff, short duration. I don't know why not.
Yeah.
No, wait, no, not flurry's damage. The damage on the boss, or I mean the enemy. So you can,
Oh, the damage the enemy takes.
yeah, come on, flurry sucks. I mean, honestly,
Oh,
maybe that would be
okay.
a bit.
But then flurry is a utility skill again.
Oh, I mean, it also does damage, right? Okay, sure. You can make it buff flurry's damage. Fine. Yeah, it would be a bit too broken. Okay. Make it buff flurry's damage. Yeah.
If it actually buffs all damage, you would basically just press flurry, and then like buff the hell out of shadow imbuement or something, like poison imbuement or something, right?
Yeah. True.
It
Or
could
you
lead
do
to
some-
very broken situations.
Some weird dual core or build.
Or you dual
with,
yeah, you stack it up and then you shoot one Omega Rapid Fire
with tricks of the trade.
with tricks of a trade. Yeah, it's a little bit ridiculous, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably what Bobs can do, but you know,
Yeah, but I feel like that's balanced.
that's decent.
That
Yeah.
flurry check.
Honestly, that's actually good. But flurry damage and the things it procs. That's interesting. Like, you mean like grenades as well, right? Or like the lucky hits it would proc? Okay, that would be busted again. If this buffed surge damage, for example, or arrow storm, that would be pretty busted.
One shot surge.
No. I think a near infinitely scaling multiplicative buff that only lasts 3 seconds though. I think this has potential to be good, at least.
Yeah, I think.
If
It-
they
it's
put
a-
this
yeah.
in, Sanctum would complain tomorrow that it doesn't buff grenades. I'm just saying.
True.
Uh,
True, but hey, maybe we can play plain old flurry. That's it.
I mean, okay, DZ, this is technically capped by your attack speed, so yeah.
Well, no. I mean, it stacks. I don't know if infinitely. Maybe there's a very high cap, but it doesn't drop off. Like it's not like stacks that.
Oh yeah, so the stacks don't
It's-
drop off if you keep attacking.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
That's-
Okay, that makes sense. Right. What about Twisting Blades? How do you feel about Twisting Blades right now?
I feel like Twisting Blade should do more single target, and I think that Blade Dancer looks stupid. And it would be cooler if, like,
No.
as you were ripping the daggers out, it looked more like, I know we haven't seen it in a while because you can't, but like a Shava's attack that hits, well, you know, like stabs into the ground and attacks behind her. It would look cooler if it was something like that, and just like buff the lucky hit chance because now you have
Yeah.
less.
I honestly, I would go a little bit further than that, honestly. Like, I would actually have Blade Dancer be part of Twisting Blade's base ability as first, and then maybe have a unique or an aspect that increases the AoE significantly and instantly cast the blades without requiring you to stick them.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I mean, I thought about the Blade Dancer stuff. I don't think it's gonna happen, so I didn't suggest it. But I did suggest that the temper should increase Blade Dancer size.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I one suggestion I had was add a aspect or unique with an effect such as, I don't know, your twisting blade hits now create an explosion that deals whatever damage. This explosion inherits imbuement effects applied to twisting blades.
That was
Right?
also cool, yeah. That's a cool suggestion too. Yeah. What do you think, Slot?
I mean, like, I always thought it was cool playing in beta, playing in whatever with twisting blades, and it just sounded cool, and it was cool just
Yeah.
stabbing an enemy over and over again.
For sure.
I mean, like, that ability hits close to my heart, but I think that the whole being carried by Blade Dancer thing, I don't know, like a spinning blade around me just looks dumb.
But what if it's a big ass blade? So
if it
make
was
a blade.
like the blade that you guys were throwing in like last epoch, okay, that's kind of cool.
What if they sell
Yeah.
you a cosmetic and it's a shuriken now, or it's like some birds?
Sure. Oh my god, this reminds me of Shuriken in Last Epoch rotating around us, giving us insane amounts of armor. That's good
You
shit,
know what?
man.
I'm not opposed to that. That could be okay.
That's honestly cool.
Sell me a cosmetic, I'll buy it.
Yeah, I'll buy it. Blizzard. Gonna buy it. Ship it.
Ship it.
Right.
But with the buff.
Yeah,
Then
with
you
the
can
buff.
nerf it later.
Buff twisting blades and sell a cosmetic for it. Every rogue will buy it.
I'm in.
Yeah. Take my money, Blizzard. Anyway. Yeah, we said tempering. The temper should increase AoE, not just the return delay, because that's pretty much whatever.
I think like combo points got additive damage. Okay, I think like yeah, twisting blades needs those abilities where it's like it does something that's kind of insignificant. And I'll say inner sight duration too. It like needs something else with it. Twisting blades and flurry AoE size or something. Give them damage.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't give like barrage chance to cast twice, and so like now when I shoot 5 arrows, I shoot 10. Give like twisting blades something there.
Yeah. Lubus says, my man wants to copy Last Epoch. Okay. Honestly, a lot
Last
of
Epoch was
themes.
fun.
Yeah, a lot of themes that Last Epoch used should be used in Diablo 4. Simply because they are good concepts that make ARPGs good games. And I think some of the things that we see in Season 4 are obviously heavily inspired by Last Epoch, which is a very good thing.
Like Last Epoch and Path of Exile had there's a motorcycle. Had some like really cool abilities, and I was excited to use them and try them and test them out, and I'm like not excited to use Caltrops in D4. And so yeah, if you need to copy something from a
that's true.
different game to make it more fun, like sure.
That's
Or
true.
if I want like thematically this like inner sight build that I had going in my head, I was so excited to play it. And it like looked so cool as everything's getting dazed and stunned and staggered and arrow storms are coming down, and then you're like, okay, like I'm still fighting the same boss for 4.5 minutes.
Yeah, it's true.
So yeah, give me cool stuff that I want to use. Make it a choice. Make it where I want. It's like a difficult decision for me to choose because something's cooler than the other, not because they're all garbage and I have to find the least garbage one of them.
No, that's a good point, honestly. Loot filter. Okay, I have to say, I didn't feel the need for a loot filter too much in the PTR. It was fairly easy to glance over the items. I still spent time after pit in town, and I had to check items, which was a little bit annoying, to be honest. But generally speaking, a loot filter would still be good, no question. But the necessity for it did not seem insanely high.
So I think it's in the works, but icons in your inventory should probably show that how many greater affixes the item has.
Oh yes, there should be a little indicator at the top left or something, just like a 1, 2, 3, show you the greater affix.
Exactly.
And in the stash.
That would help so much. Yeah, so much.
Let me add that. Sure.
Oh, dude, finding the correct item on the stash. Oh my God.
Awesome. Where do I add this? Let me remove one line here. And then we have
Can I add one for your material economy there?
yeah, sure.
Make it so that I don't remember what the name was. The pit materials like just convert. Don't make me click an extra thing for 5 at a time because my hand went numb.
Yeah, true. Yeah. That's a good one. I did feel the need for a filter on PTR. Your inventory is really getting flooded that fast, and yellows are already getting all instantly going crushed. Hey, that's not true. I found like a million yellows still. I thought they were all weight crystals, but I still found like a multitude of yellows, and I was annoyed by them, especially in helltide.
Yeah, like go do helltide and you'll get like 30 legendaries in
What?
10 or 20 minutes, and go do pit and you get like
So
5 to 10 per run.
why can't I just
Helltide
put
showers you.
why can't I select an option on my menu? It's like instantly salvage
Yeah.
rares before they even
Insta
hit my
savage
inventory.
rares, yeah.
It's like
No. Right. We were at Twisting Blades. Talked about Twisting Blades. I think an obvious fix is for Sturdy, just giving flat damage reduction. I think you suggested this as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Because I think your explanation was something along the lines that certain ground effects do not benefit from close damage reduction, right?
Yep. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah, Rogue's a bit because Rogue has dodge and DR to close, and neither of those work against that shit. So
yeah, I think Rogue in general just needs more unconditional damage reduction, and I think Sturdy is the place to add it. Honestly.
Yeah.
All right, Siphoning Strikes. I think Siphoning Strikes should not require critting, and it has 3 conditions, right? Crit, lucky hit, and being close to the target. I think that's a little bit much because honestly, we have better access to healing now in general with like allowing life per hit on certain things. Undying exists in the base game. So I think Siphoning Strike should not be this restrictive. I think it would be okay to remove the crit requirement, but then to compensate that, reduce luck hit chance by like 10% or something. I think this would make it a lot better.
Yeah, I mean the reason why it sounds like that is because all the other talents or whatever that are the same have the same values, so they have to change them for all classes. But
I like the crit requirement on it, and like not allowing you to skip a stat that's necessary for it. I actually liked it a lot more, and obviously it was a lot more busted when lucky hit wasn't tied to it. But I kind of liked the necessity to crit on it more than the necessity to lucky hit for it.
Okay, the problem is if we have to regard the new itemization now. It is insanely difficult to stack crit and lucky hit in the same build because these affixes do compete for each other in the slots they appear.
That's true. Yeah, it feels like the talent now is a bit useless if you're not already stacking lucky hit. Like it never procs.
Do you think overhealing with Siphoning Strike generating a barrier would be OP? I don't think it would be OP, honestly, because Rogue has no access to barrier whatsoever, and giving it through Siphoning Strikes would be kind of interesting, honestly.
Yeah.
Could make us use Conceited as well.
Yeah. I
don't know if
maybe
thematically I like a barrier on Rogue.
Yeah,
it doesn't
fit. It doesn't fit thematically. That is true.
I would say though that like Crowded Sage was another super OP one, aside from the fact that it destroys your ears because you hear the potion sound every 0.1 second.
Yeah.
But like seriously, because now with tempering, you can get 50-60% dodge, maybe more.
Yeah.
Probably more because I didn't even take all the aspects for it.
I think I had 63% unbuffed at some point.
Yeah.
Without
like,
super tryharding for it.
You're getting 20% health back every time you dodge is insane.
The only problem I have with this is the aspect economy is so insanely tight on Rogue defensively. You need Juggernaut. There's no way around it. It's like the most efficient thing to get armor from. And then Umbrus is insanely important to actually have damage reduction. So that is set 2. That gives you 1 more defensive slot if you do not want to utilize the amulet.
I want to get into that one that you just named.
Yeah.
Why is Dark Shroud completely useless unless you take Umbrus?
Yeah, I have Dark Shroud right here. We're gonna talk about that in a second. Definitely. So yeah, this is something we could do about siphoning strikes. Let's go chronologically here from top to bottom. Agility skills. Shadow Step. I think Shadow Step's animation and casting like landing animation is insanely long. You
Yeah, it's too
basically
long.
lose 3 barrages if you cast Shadow Step. I think it should not be this long, honestly.
I think it should do
Especially
more
the
damage.
landing one should be way shorter.
Yeah. And with the new view distance, it is hilarious that the max range or Shadow Step is like half your screen. It makes no sense. Like, you can see enemies and you click on them and nothing happens because the max range of Shadow Step is so incredibly short. And then obviously it needs to remove the internal cooldown when you get resets with Discipline, Shadow Step, or Ravagers. If the reset that you get from Discipline, Shadow Step, or Ravagers is actually the reset that sets your Shadow Step from 0 to 1 again, there is still an internal cooldown before you can cast Shadow Step again. This is partly tied to the landing animation, but after the landing animation, there's still like a 0.2 to 0.3-ish internal cooldown before you can actually cast the skill again. This is massively infuriating if you try to chain multiple Shadow Steps onto each other. So that definitely has to go. Alright. What do you guys think about Shadow Step? Do you think Shadow Step is a good place? Generally?
I think it should be more impactful. I don't like the only. I mean, like for me in my playstyle, it's always my CC break, and you don't have really the aspect economy to dedicate something to it.
Yeah, Ravagers is super expensive because it competes with Hectic right now.
Right. The stun
And the
and the
concussive
days
strikes
one.
also.
And Concussive,
Yeah,
yeah, as well, yeah.
Like the
Which, why does Manglers exist?
Yeah, this is like a better Manglers, honestly.
Yeah.
right. The stagger aspect of it is good. The stun aspect, I think, should just be part of the skill. I don't see why it's not.
Oh, we should just stun on default? Yeah, it's good.
Why not?
Yeah, true.
It's like, if I'm shadow stepping to something, like, isn't that like thematically what it should do? I think the cooldown reduction for 4 seconds, I don't even know. I feel like it's too long for our only. We don't get a CC break that lasts. So we get like a CC break. And it's either this or conceal on 20 seconds. And I feel like this should be more accessible.
What if we move the stun to the base skill, and Methodical Shadow Step gives us unstoppable for 3 seconds after casting it?
I would always use it. That would be amazing. I mean, like,
Yeah, honestly, the unstoppable should last 2-3 seconds, not more. Just 2-3 seconds.
Yeah.
Why not?
yeah, we get point one.
Yeah, it's a CC break, basically. That's it.
It's a
Which
CC
is
break,
dumb.
and you can get CC'd right after again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit okay. I think it is actually better to don't use that on Methodical Shadow Step, but put this as the mandatory upgrade to reach the branch. I think this is called Enhanced Shadow Step, right?
Yeah, enhanced.
And then give Methodical Shadow Step the crit chance, but increase it. It's 8% on live. How could we tune this, or what could we give Shadow Step here that we would consider it over picking what's it called? The Shadow
4
Step
seconds less
the
on the
4
cooldown,
seconds.
or is it 3?
What's it called?
I think there's a bunch of stuff you could put there. You could put hits for X seconds. Again, let's say for 5
Disciplined
seconds. Disciplined
is the other one. No.
Yeah. We could do hits against the target. Reduce your cooldowns, or hits against, or marks the target, takes extra damage. Shit like that, and then you could consider it.
Hits against the target reduce your marksman
Ooh,
cooldown.
I got a good one.
No, your cooldown. Your
I got a good
You
one.
got a good one?
Shadow stepping a target reduces its damage or something like that to you for X time.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Because that only works on a single target, so maybe a boss, but it makes you want to use it.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I like this. It also fits the methodical part of it.
Yeah, I like that.
That's a good one. Smokey, I think this is a good one for an aspect, honestly. Like, bouncing around between multiple targets, like hitting multiple targets with Shadow Step. I think this is a good one for the aspect.
Wait, imagine an aspect.
This is basically what Ravagers should be, honestly.
Imagine an aspect that says, when you cast Shadow Step, summon, I don't know, 5 clones that also the Shadow Step enemies. You know what I mean? You basically copy these Shadow Steps with clones. Like there should be a Shadow Step dash build. Feel. But whatever, that's for the future.
Right. I think we're pretty good on Shadow Step then. What about dash? Reduce dash base cooldown by 2 seconds is for me something that should be in the game, which should have been in the game forever. I think dash space cooldown is way too high compared to other classes' mobility skills.
I mean, considering you have to save it sometimes, right? Like, I don't know. It's too long. I save it way too often. It's like, oh, should I use it because I want to move faster? No, because then I'm not gonna have it. You know,
it used to be 8. What's the base cooldown right now? It's 12 seconds. Oh my god. Yeah. So I think
it could be 10 for sure.
Obviously, we also need to have shorter dashes available. It should just dash where you point your cursor to.
Yeah, of course.
Because if you stand next to a boss and...
Wait, you're mixing that one?
I'm mixed on it because what if you're TB, right? And like you need to get out and like you're attacking something and you just want like an out button and now you have to move your mouse to where you want to be out to and it's slower than if you could just dash away if you're in trouble.
Do you need to move this far? If it's basically, if the shortest possible range is basically 1 explosion size.
I see. So you're not having a bare minimum where you can basically dash right on top of where you are.
Not right on top.
No, but it's
okay, that I'm like more on board with.
What was it?
Yeah. It's hard to explain. How do I put this?
Allow it to have a minimum and maximum range, not just a maximum range, I guess.
With defined minimum range. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. All right. And obviously, one thing that should have been in the game since forever, allow dashing through walls and obstacles. Why can teleport and leap do this, but we can't? This is illegal.
But Shadow Step can.
But Shadow Step requires a target. Leap and teleport do not.
Yeah.
This...
Like if you're in helltide and you're on the upper level...
It's so infuriating. I want to kill myself. I want to, you know, yeet myself every single time. So yeah. Barb's leaping through the abyss, and yeah, like in Gauntlet, Barb's literally skip parts of the map by leaping through out of bounds. That's kind of ridiculous. Because, and also leap does not have a max range. It's like you can play. Rob actually played with 32:9 stretched aspect ratio custom to increase the range of his leap. That's ridiculous. I have no words for this.
Okay, I'm back. Where are you guys?
Complaining about that dash can go through walls and obstacles, but teleport and leap have unlimited range, pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah. this
Yeah,
should
yeah.
be in the game. Like dashing and through walls and obstacles should be possible.
Oh, something about caltrops is next.
Yeah.
I think you're remove the backflip. If you do that, why not? Honestly, concealment should go where caltrops is, and caltrops should be where concealment is, like on the skill tree.
Oh yeah, caltrops is subterfuge. Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense. Oh, then it can utilize the pull ring. Yeah, like this. Okay. No. That's good. Ruck should be buffed. Just a little bit. And obviously the upgrade after Rugged is super bad. Reactive defense, gain damage reduction while inflicted by with crowd and pairing effects. I think...
Wait, one question though.
Hmm?
Do you know if DR against dots even works?
It does. It actually works.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Caltrops is counted as a trap. Spawn a clone at your cursor and swap place with it. Yeah, if that clone works, sure. Reactive defense. I think it's better if right now reactive defense is gain damage reduction while inflicted with control and pairing effects. I think what would be good would be whenever you consume a potion, clear all damage over time effects.
Yeah.
Clean and simple. One rank. Done. Like, I imagine Rogue, like, let's say Rogue knows stuff about toxins, right? We have Poison Imbuement. It would make sense for him to carry antidotes that he just chugs when he's poisoned.
Not
know?
if you're burning, though. There's like yes and no on that.
Yeah, I mean...
I
Gotta
also
stretch
think
the
I
fantasy
think
a little
that the just clearing all dot because you can spam potions. I think that's a little too strong unless they put a cooldown.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
dots.
Yeah,
Pretty
but then again, dots are quite rare, and you have to invest points into Ruck first.
Although what would be weird is you would have rugged and reactive defense be like anti-synergy. You know what I mean?
Oh, true. You would
It's
put 1 point into Ruck, and then yeah.
Yeah, I straight up made it so rugged was close DR. I was like, fuck this. But if it works, I thought dot DR didn't even work.
No.
How come we didn't take it? I guess there's not enough points.
I mean, maybe this is a little bit too ambitious with like clear all dots. Maybe. What about
Wait, couldn't it be close DR? Since you removed the close DR from sturdy, just make it close DR.
Oh yeah.
I guess.
What's balance 4? 8.
And it probably should be a higher value than straight up DR, especially since.
I mean, you can
reach
take
it.
both now, so you know.
Yeah, I mean, but Rogue's pretty damn squishy. I feel like you get some slight buffs.
Yeah, I see it though. Reactive defense sounds to me like reactive defense sounds to me like a lancing blow, honestly. You know?
Yeah, true.
So what if we include a concept like this instead of close DR?
Yeah, I like it.
Like, what is it? X% chance to
take less damage from any.
to take
If it's based on your dodge, that would be even cooler.
Yeah, true. Chance to take percent reduced damage. Epsilon percent. How do you word this?
That would be a really cool aspect, actually.
Yeah.
If your dodge, you would
Just-
take your dodge.
Just
and have
stop with packing everything into aspects. We need stuff that's good in our base kit.
it.
We can't put everything in aspects, man.
Yeah.
How about I wanted to be included in the passive and last second class of poison trap, death trap mastery. Would also be interesting. True. Chance to tank reduced damage. Chance increases with dodge chance or reduced or damage reduction increase with dodge chance. Like what does scale?
Chance increases with dodge.
The
Okay.
chance, yeah, the chance.
So let's say you take 35% less damage or something, but the chance to
increases
get it is
based
I don't know
on your on
20% of your dodge chance or
dodge
something. I don't
chance.
know.
Yeah, I like this, honestly.
That would be so OP, I'm not gonna lie, but it's a cool talent. Cool passive.
Mm. Yeah. I think that's good though. Alright. Subterfuge. I mean, this could be a low chance. It doesn't have to be like in last epoch where it's like 35% chance, like insane amount of chance for 35%. Like you could literally reach 100% and then it's 35% damage reduction. Like this could be low. This could be like a 5% chance to take 10% reduced damage, for example. And then if you have like an insane amount of dodge, then it's maybe like a 20% chance or something.
It should probably be more than 10%, but yeah, it should be like.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be 100%. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, like 20% less damage taken. Yeah, then it will be balanced for sure.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Nintendo's suggestion is like it just gets eaten by trash mobs, unfortunately. That's a good. I mean, it's a good idea in theory,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's. But this is like the same reason. There's like an aspect like this, right? That increases your dodge chance every
Yeah.
time you got hit.
I think
or
that's the
something.
one they changed. Yeah, that's the one they changed.
Yeah,
I'm
they
pretty sure.
changed this now. Oh yeah.
It's also
Yes.
there's also the one like if you get hit, you get like 9 dodges or something.
Yeah. Like
Oh yeah.
the drops the smoke nade and then you dodge stuff. And you still die because you're standing on top of a ground effect that just kills you.
Oh, by the way, why is smoke grenade not a ground effect?
Yeah, why doesn't it why isn't it a lingering effect? Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and why doesn't it infect bosses? So that's what I said about the smoke grenade. Honestly.
Wait, it does affect bosses. The damage part.
Wait, since when?
They changed that recently in season 3. It does work on bosses now.
Oh, I don't know.
Only when staggered or always?
No, I think always. No, okay. Now
Are you sure?
I'm moving into territory where I'm not 100% sure anymore.
Where's that?
I might be misremembering, but I think
you're
it was.
misremembering for season 3 at least.
Yeah, all the Dark Shroud stuff, I agree. It's basically all the feedback I gave on it. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, it should leave a cloud. That's true. I think we can add this, honestly. Smoke bomb. Now leaves a lingering cloud that applies its effects for 3 seconds. Honestly, could just be 5 seconds because why not?
And probably it should be base size a bit bigger. Let's be honest.
What? What
It's
did
a
you say?
bit. It's the base size of smoke bomb should be a bit bigger. I feel it's so small.
Increase smoke bomb.
Oh yeah. Also, Caltrop's temper should be utility. It shouldn't be weapons.
Caltrop's temper shouldn't be weapons.
Yeah, the size one. Why the hell is Caltrop's size in on the weapons?
Okay. Should be utility. No.
Yeah, I should compete with the lucky hit CC shit.
Yeah.
Honestly. Okay, guys, I think I have to leave in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. We are nearly done, actually.
Yep.
I have to eat soon too, but I'm waiting for the Dark Shroud.
Yeah, we're basically we basically have Dark Shroud, then we have human skills, and we're done. Because we did this part already. Right, so let's get into Dark Shroud. So Dark Shroud is carried by Umbros. We all know that. And I think one suggestion that is possible is while you have Dark Shroud and skill bar, you passively gain 1 shot per second. So this is actually a suggestion I took from Sanctum. I saw him having that, and I think this is a really good idea. So it's your idea, so you might elaborate on that if you want.
I mean, honestly, there just has to be a reason to have Shroud on your bar, right? Like when
Yeah.
you first of all passively, and then like just like when you press it just has to do something. Which
Yeah,
is why I
true.
also gave it the like locks in your stacks for a brief like 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, whatever. Because right now, I mean, also the cooldown is so long, it should be a bit shorter. I feel.
Way shorter. It's the only
Yeah, way
defensive cooldown rogues have, and it
Mm.
lasts for 5 hits. Without Umbris, this skill does nothing.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I think that the passive of Umbris should be baked into the skill, and I think it's ridiculous that a defensive ability only has value with an aspect.
That's true.
Well, I mean, if the active skill would do the lock thing, you know, and it also gave you passive shrouds, it would be quite a bit better. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree.
Let's say I just want to give you the example that we have here.
Mhm.
But how many dark shrouds do you build per second with puncture or barrage or rapid fire?
5.
With
Yeah, but
Umbris per second, I think it's higher than that.
It's
yeah,
probably
go
high,
ahead.
yeah.
Like
But
Umbris
so
carries that skill so hard compared to what it does
yeah,
on its own.
yeah, but if you get like shrouds per second on top of when you activate it, you get 5, and then you lock them in. For example, with the shrouds per second, just by walking, like when you walk to a next pack, maybe you know you were 4 shrouds, 3 shrouds, now you're at 5, and
Yeah, and then you lock them when you engage.
The lock,
yeah,
okay, I missed that part. Yeah, that works for me.
yeah.
Yeah, I like
Rogue needs
like
something
this
where
is
it's like you get DR for X time, you can eat X
Yeah.
hits, and if
Like-
it stays on 20-second cooldown with that, that's fine then.
like Nintendo also has a good suggestion where he said like, yo, press not lose stacks. Yeah, I think not losing stacks should be a 3-second thing. I think 6 seconds is a little bit high.
Especially with cooldown
But
reductions.
yeah, and I think if we do that, then I think Volatile Shadow should also be changed, where when casting Dark Shroud, all already active shrouds explode and apply Volatile Shadow's effect, then gain 5 new shrouds.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta go, guys.
Yeah,
See you later.
Have a
Thanks
good
for
one.
the talk. It was fun.
Yep.
Hopefully, Rogue gets fixed.
Hopefully, yeah.
Bye.
Hopefully. All right.
Or rage.
Indeed. So, right. Yeah. Big thanks to Sanctum for joining this one. It was a lot of fun to talk with him. Right, Slot, do you want to finish up the imbuements with me? And
Let's do it.
yeah, sure. So I think cold imbuement chill should just be increased to 50%, so that when you cast the cold imbutes, like both cold imbuments, the target that you actually hit should be frozen. Because, I mean, honestly, cold imbuement could literally just instantly freeze instead of having the chill part, but you know.
I'm not opposed to it.
No.
Like, just make it a 1 out of 1 skill instead of 1 out of 5, and
like the important
do that, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I agree. So, yeah.
Just remove, like I'm reading Nintendo's thing, just remove the ranks. Not everything has to have like 5 points for the sake of having 5 points.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Honestly, what the ranks should do is that you deal increased damage to frozen per rank. Or chilled. That will make sense.
It's just
To be
too
honest.
generic, you know what I mean? Like everything with another point is just cooldown or damage
Yeah.
or this or that, and it's just like,
Yeah, it's kind of hard
No.
to get
let us
something
have
better,
something
to be
cool.
honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be okay with that being like a 1 out of 1. Let you use your 4 points on something else. Keep everything else in there that
Yeah.
like, if something's frozen, it gets vulnerable or lucky hit vulnerable or whatever.
Oh. And that's like, okay, wait. Do frozen enemies count as chilled?
I'm not answering that because I don't know.
I have no clue. Because let's imagine a world where you deal more damage against shield, but lose that damage upon the time the air actually frozen. That would be ridiculously stupid. Let's just
I
put
think it's
frozen
one or the
there.
other.
Let's just put frozen there. Alright, blend and channel
Especially
imbuement.
now, yeah,
Huh?
it's like especially now with that like chance to freeze on all your defense, like armor
Yeah.
pieces.
That makes cold imbuement so bad though. Like 50%, like 25% chill. Come on, man. They do. Matthias. Oh, Matthias, what's up, man? Okay. I'll still just leave frozen because, you know. Yeah, but that's good. I think it. I mean, it should work like this, right? It should. But there's a lot of things of Diablo 4 that should work a certain way and don't. So you know. That's
Like I really like that new like chance to freeze, chance to daze stuff.
yeah,
Since
yeah,
imbues don't work,
definitely.
that
It's super
it like
good.
it's cool on an inner sight build. But
It's
this
super good.
like
It's super good.
I'm not buying into having to get either 6 out of 5 points in,
Yeah.
and correct me if I'm wrong here. It's either 6 out of 5 in cold imbue or a Shaco with like 2 points in it to hit like 50%.
Yeah.
Eh,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it should just be 50% base to chill. It's like,
agree.
yeah. All right. Planet Shadow
Maybe
Imbuement.
if you want to put the points in, maybe it goes to 100% if you put like a few
Yeah.
points in.
Yeah. I mean, that would be
Increase the
okay.
scaling.
You know, that would actually be okay. Honestly, that would make the points
Worth
okay.
it.
Actually, honestly, if we increase the chill to 50% and then 5 ranks puts it to like
100?
100. Yeah, honestly, okay. Then we don't even need ranks
be okay
frozen,
with it.
I guess. Yeah, sure. Blended Shadow Imbuement. If a Shadow Imbued skill hits only one target, its damage is increased by X%. This is a thing that I had when I thought about designing the assassination thing. Could be kind of cool to have that work with, you know. By the way,
I need to remember what that does.
sheet is here. This is the Cutthroat Imbuable Ultimate that requires stealth and deals a massive amount of damage to a single enemy.
Sorry, I
can't
meant the poison, the shadow imbue.
Oh, Blended
Oh,
Shadow
the
Imbue?
explosion
That's
one.
the explosion
Yeah.
that makes them vulnerable. That thing you never click, basically. Unless you're level
Yeah.
5.
Yeah, that can get a buff.
Yeah. Right. And then...
Or, how about this?
Yeah.
How about this? Give it multiple uses. The explosion still makes stuff vulnerable, but vulnerable enemies take X, like, if the enemy's already vulnerable, it takes X damage while it's on. Maybe that's too strong in AoE then.
I think that's
Nah,
too
yours is
strong,
better.
honestly.
Yeah, yours is better.
This is basically... This would basically be Victimize on steroids. In a
Yeah.
skill upgrade.
You're right.
That's a little bit OP, I think. Right. I think Blended Poison Imbuement should just be buffed from 75 to 100%. To
It's a
compensate
numbers
for
thing, I
all
can't-
of the...
yeah.
To compensate for all of the nerfs that have hit PI, TB, Cutthroat, core skill interactions. So yeah.
I can't comment on it. As long as like the end number looks good, however it gets done, I'm happy. But
I
if
think
this
this-
number makes poison better, then
I think
probably.
this is a very timid buff, to be very honest.
Okay.
Like, this could literally be 200% and we would still not see insane amounts of... Like, we will not be like... Okay, this could be 200% and Rob still wouldn't make a video about Twisting Blades Rogue being broken. To put this
Yeah.
into perspective, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't include any poison imbuement feedback because this is getting covered by Ava in great detail. So I tried to keep the poison imbuement feedback not on the bug part of it, that stuff doesn't scale with it, because that is well documented and has been basically forwarded. in some way or another from other people as well, or like other people try to forward this, and like there is stuff that is going to be trying to reach awareness for, and I think it is good if we don't all submit the same feedback. Yes, there should be stuff that we all submit to make sure, yeah, this gets seen. But I don't think every single one of us has to submit every single thing, you know? Or like try to
missed
talk
so
about
much
the
stuff.
yeah, there's
I'm
just
so
so much
happy that
stuff. Yeah.
I'm so happy you have all this stuff because I wasted my whole week on like 2 things.
Yeah. I mean,
So it's like, yes, I complained about veiled crystals just like you, but the rest of my stuff, I didn't touch any of this.
yeah. I mean, we had a lot of stuff in GMS, right? That we tried to cover. I have to say, 1 week was actually too short to test all the things.
Agree.
Even though we were basically full-time playing PTR with a multitude of people.
Because you're going in from scratch, not knowing things ahead of
No.
time. So we're figuring out tempering and I mean, like, let's be honest. We spent how many hours like making veiled crystals?
Yeah, I mean, I think I spent over. Huh. Let me estimate. I made around 500 characters, maybe more,
Yeah.
maybe 600. Let's
I
say
get it.
each creation takes, with checking items and takes me, let's be generous, 3 minutes. Maybe I'm like going slow about it, and and I have like the loading screen and stuff. Let's say 3 minutes. So that is
25 hours.
that's 25 hours just staring at the character creation screen, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point, Smokey, honestly.
Yeah, I think as much as you see me rage about this stuff, ultimately I want this game to do well. So I'm happy if things get implemented,
Mm.
and I hope they do get implemented. I don't like the way that things have been going for quite a while. I mean, it just seems like
Yeah,
poor Flurry.
that's a good point, honestly.
But they've been making some decent things, and them to put this out here, let's hope. All right, I gotta go eat. But thank you for having me on.
Yeah, sure thing. So have a good one.
Like,
Thank you for joining me on
talk
this
to you
one.
later.
And yeah,
Bye, chat.
yeah, have a good one. Right. So that was Slott and Sanctum joining me for this awesome PTR feedback review. I think, okay, like I honestly think it is kind of important for us to raise, like us as in we as rogue players, to raise awareness about the issues, the fundamental core issues the class has, in a sense that it doesn't really fit the regular view of a rogue as a fast, mobile, high DPS, low defense class. A lot of these things are actually done better by other classes, and this is a little bit frustrating if you like rogue in general, and if you like the class fantasy of rogue. It could just be better in that sense. And I think I think a lot of the issues with rogue cannot really be solved by number tuning. Of course, I mean, you could circumvent certain issues by just having absurd amount of damage, right? But I think the core gameplay of rogue in general could be more fun and could have more variety by trying to implement new strategies, new aspects, new features, new passives, and new ways to play the class that is not left click 3 times, right click 1 time. Because that's what like rogue has been doing for a long time. And I think that's very uninteresting and has very little player agency in the end. So yeah, I think that's something to consider. Right. Yeah. So gotta say, that was a pretty good talk. And what kind of things? Well, okay, after like I know a few of you have been basically watching and listening from the start. Is there anything that you feel like is like important feedback that is still missing from this sheet? Because if you guys have anything, right, that is not in there, where you say, okay, hey, this should be in there because I think it's important or it is important to me, then this is basically the time to voice the concerns. Like, I mean, I think I did a pretty thorough coverage of a lot of rogue things. I mean, I did focus a little bit on the PTR mechanics themselves, but I think this section, this PTR mechanics section, is where they will get a massive amount of feedback for. And I think very many of the issues with what we saw on PTR are very apparent, and I think this part will be very similar for every single person who submits feedback on PTR. What is important to me personally is trying to have the rogue stuff be interesting, trying to make rogue a class that feels better. Maybe I love your videos and literally run rogue better. Yeah, thank you, man. That's what I try to do. Try to be as educational as I can. Like highlight the aspects of the class as good as I can. So yeah, if anyone of you has like some more suggestions, what build you play with Rogue in Season 4? I don't know yet because we don't have patch notes for Season 4 yet. I mean, in PTR we saw that Surge Rogue is certainly very strong, and unless they absolutely destroy Elemental Surge, we will still be able to play Surge Rogue, and it will probably be a good performing build. Other than that, Rapid Fire Rogue is obviously a very safe choice because they want with designing a new unique for this build, they want Rapid Fire Rogue to be a build and to succeed. So I think in any case, Rapid Fire Rogue is probably a good choice because Rapid Fire itself is currently one of the better performing core skills in itself. So I think no matter what happens, I think we will see people play Rapid Fire Rogue. Then obviously Twisting Blades is a pretty safe choice, honestly. For this, so yeah. Right. One question: how level build is the best? I have played Penshot. I mean, Penshot is really good for leveling. Honestly, you could just keep playing that. Penshot with Shadow Movement is decent for leveling. And if you want to actually face and kill bosses, right, you can add Rapid Fire to the build and then have a little bit of more punch against a single target. Smokey says, sometimes you need to hit someone in the face with your message. It's worth adding a summary statement. What you just said about the class not living up to the fantasy of high movement, high damage, or defense icon is important in itself, and worth highlighting so there's something root the recipe. Yo, okay, I have basically written this exact statement here. This, what I just said, is here. It is literally on the beginning of the non-PTR general feedback. Because I think this is very important, and this means a lot to me as well. Like, I can utilize that, actually. Right. Amazing sheet. I'd love to see uniques and aspects not to be bound to specific spells, like the new grenade ring being flurry for only example. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That is true. That's true. That's a good point, actually. I think I can add this here, honestly. Items. Uniques. Grenade ring. What is it called? What is the grenade ring called? Scoundrel's Kiss, the rapid fire ring. What's the rapid fire ring called again? Saboteur Signet. Yeah, thank you. Saboteur Signet. Should not be limited to Flurry. Saboteur Signet, should not be limited to Flurry. And then yeah, like we did. Okay, the thing is, when we talked about basic skills before that, right? We didn't even consider pestilent points into our discussion, and that shows that like it's so ingrained in our brains to use pestilent points. Because it is like, if you play puncture and you have any sort of synergy with poison damage, you will play pestilent points. Because it is just absurdly good at proccing bursting venoms. Or like, not even bursting venoms. At proccing Eldritch Bounty as well. Like, the amount of synergy that pestilent points provides is mind-blowing. It applies a dot, right? So you get damage reduction from DR. It triggers Eldritch Bounty, so you get 20% more damage against. You get 20% more multiplicative damage with poison. It gives you 3% poison resistance above the maximum cap. What else is there? It has lucky hit chance. Because it inherits lucky hit chance from pestilent points. You know, that's pretty crazy, honestly. So yeah. Applies to items like Eaglehorn. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I mean uniques in general need a little bit of love now with the new itemization rework. Uniques in general need higher stats to compete with reworks. Legendaries. But I think the Eaglehorn suggestion is interesting, honestly. I think I would want okay. I think it is okay to have one specific unique per core skill, because that allows you to specifically tweak that unique for the core skill. But in order for that to happen, this unique needs to really have an interesting and special effect that it gives to the core skill. And I think in many cases, this is just not the case. Kind of hard to describe. Like, some of these uniques just fall flat in what they want to do, and I think Eaglehorn is a good example of that. Same with Eyes in the Dark. I mean, Scoundrel's Leather is like the inner side thing, and nobody even considered playing it because it's just so hilariously bad. Yeah, Sock Frozen Orb is a great example of a good unique. I honestly think the Rapid Fire Ring is also a good unique, but wait, let me add that. Scoundrel's Kiss. But Scoundrel's Kiss should not lob its projectiles everywhere. It should just be focused on one point. Right. All I know is when they do the story work, I will happily be a guest on your stream and we can pick apart all the problems with the rogue cosmetics. So many items with frayed edges and holes in fabric. Never again. Also, okay, Smokey, if that happens, remind me on Discord to do that with you, and I'll definitely be down to pick everything apart because honestly, that is something we have to do. Like fashion rogue has to be done. I'm down. Hit me up when it's time. You guys remember Call of the Nameless existed? I mean, tier list? Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. We do that. We're gonna do that. Okay, Call of the Nameless is... How do I say this? I think Call of the Nameless is... Like, conceptually, Call of the Nameless is decent. But the main problem I have with it is it increases your lucky hit chance multiplicatively. This would be amazing if we could get over 100% lucky hit chance, but our usual lucky hit chance sits at around 30%, maybe 50% if we're really trying to make lucky hit chance a thing in our build. So adding another 8% is kind of underwhelming, honestly. If the target is crowd controlled. It's not like just a flat buff, right? So Call of the Nameless definitely needs help. Actually, now that I say this, let me look at Call of the Nameless. Because I obviously might be misremembering how bad it really is. Call of the Nameless. Okay. This is Call of the Nameless, in case you forgot. Multiplicative increased lucky hit chance against crowd-controlled enemies. This could be 100% and it would not be broken. All imbuement skills. That's kind of random, honestly. If that was... I mean, this is obviously designed to be, like, used with bursting venoms, right? So, like, bursting venom's poison imbuement. It's like bursting venom's poison imbuement is like the build you want to play this in because it has imbuement skills, obviously. 12% crowd control duration is not great. Cool reduction is nice. Damage reduction from close enemies is cool, but damage reduction to close enemies is so much worse than flat damage reduction. Honestly, if this was flat damage reduction, and this was like 50 to 100% increased lucky hit chance or something, and imbuement skills, okay, basically change the whole fucking item at this point, then we would maybe consider playing it in PTR. But I just don't see it, honestly. I just don't see it. I don't know. I honestly don't know if I want to go this deep down the rabbit hole. I mean, yes, Carl has potential, and I think many of the issues with Carl Nameless can be fixed by tweaking its numbers, but it also has like 2 useless stats and 1 very questionable stat on it that is straightly inferior to another stat, which is damage reduction, like flat damage reduction. Like the only legit good stat on it is cooldown reduction. But it's not even like specially high, it's just a regular 7% cooldown reduction roll. And the aspect's bad. Like, because it is unattuned. Like, honestly, if the aspect red, you gain 40% increased lucky hit chance multiplicatively. Unconditional. I think then it might be considered. But again, in a world where Shaco exists, you would never run this. It would have to be massively overpowered to consider running Call of the Nameless. But I don't think I want to go this deep down the rabbit hole where I try to redesign every single rogue item. because that's just crazy, man. Oh yeah, Scarlet's Kiss has to work with repeating. That's true. Make it work with repeating. Sorry to derail. Oh, it's fine, dude. Easy, don't worry, man. Right. So do you think like other than straight up redesigning the whole game, do you think anything should be in there? I want Rain of Arrows to be tagged Arrow Storms, the new aspect. Oh, that is interesting. I like this. We talked about Arrow Storm should just be a big, like just a big, like Rain of Arrows should just be a big Arrow Storm. Give it Arrow Storm tag to benefit from Arrow Storm aspects. I like this. I really like this. Then I might actually consider using this if it has 0 cooldown. Oh my god. That Nintendo, that reminds me a lot of the scene in 300 where they're like basically where the Persians are shooting like 1,000,000 arrows to darken the sky. That's kind of cool. Like Arrow Storm should not be limited to 5 as well. Arrow Storms increase Arrow Storm limit to. Okay, what is a number that you will probably never reach, but is still not ridiculous? Is still not infinite. Like in the case of Arrow Storms, will you ever proc more than 20 Arrow Storms? To be very honest, I mean, with sufficient luck hit chance, you actually could. Honestly, let's just say 20 arrows. Yeah, man, that's true. Remove Arrow Storm limit. Arrow Storm limit. That's a good one. So yeah. I'm trying to think. Like this is pretty much obvious. I've seen clips of Sorks breaking a Conjuration Master stack of 30. God. That's pretty crazy, man. Like, we're limited to 5 Arrow Storms. They can make 90 Frozen Orbs or something. Oh yeah, Impetus. I forgot Impetus. Impetus is actually a good call. Damn, do I have space? I do. Okay, do you know what the worst thing about Impetus is? It actually gets consumed by subterfuge skills as well. Like concealment consumes Impetus. That's how bad it is. Should only be consumed by ultimate or core skills. That's how bad it is. Like I was sitting in Discord with Ava and we were testing like stupid actions as we always do. When we tried to do the Duriel one shot, and I tried like getting Impetus to work to, you know, have that for the one shot and prep everything correctly. And I was standing in front of the target dummy with all of the Banished Lord Talisman stacks and all of the other stacks and all the stuff. And I was like, yeah, I can just press concealment for after, you know, to have the guaranteed crit, or like I don't know. I think I used it because we tried dropping exploit glyph. So I used concealment for the guaranteed vuln, right? And then I noticed that concealment consumed Impetus. So I actually had to use exploit, or like just bank on having enough, like doing the dance fast enough to hit the vulnerable window from Puncture. So yeah. I'd love it to be more visually noticeable, you like a glow. Yeah, that's good, yeah. Glow indicator when ready. That's a good one. I like that. Like, it could literally be as subtle as your boots glowing or something. Right? You probably wouldn't see it when there's like a million mobs on the screen, but just something. Like a slight aura, like in D2. Yeah, that's also nice, honestly. Alright, 1 second. Alright, Glagafan, you're awesome for this. Thank you. Gotta go eat. Alright, have a nice dinner, man. Have a good one. Guys. Also, like, congrats to rank 1 on week 4. So, hopefully both of those artworks are gonna arrive at our place soon. So, yeah. Right. Right. Alright. I think it's gonna be it for me for today. 4 hours of straight talking. Pretty good. So thank you for staying with me on this one. And I'll send you guys over to the maxroll podcast so you can catch whatever macro and the other guys are saying. So yeah. Have a good one, guys. Thank you for being here, and hopefully we'll have a nice season 4 once it launches. And I'll post a summary video probably of this on YouTube. And like, you know, where I just scroll through the feedback a little bit and probably try to make it a digestible 10-minute video or something. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. We'll be uploading that, I think, probably tomorrow. So yeah. Right. Have a good one, boys, and I'll see you.